We are live here on the Nature Sports Podcast, man. We got a new show for y'all. It's called Major Mondays, man. You know, this first one, being as though it's a new season, we want to give y'all new shows, you know what I mean? A new way of doing things here on the Nature Sports Network. You know what I mean? I'm going to let the guys introduce themselves, and then we can go into a little bit of what we got going on today. I'm ETA Money Row, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just going to, man, just hold it down on that front. But other than that, you know, we got the guys with us, so I'm going to let the guys introduce themselves. We go from there.
I'm gonna go next. This Point B, man. Checking in. I'm right here on Major Mondays. You know what it is.
Yeah, it's that boy Big Son checking in on this major Monday. You already know. Yes,
Vito.
sir. Get it started on the show.
Yes, indeed.
10-year
And we
vet,
got,
not to add, not to mention. You know.
yeah, you know what it is. And we got Uptown Vito too. I don't know what just happened to Uptown Vito. He was on. We might have lost him for a quick second, but that's all good. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna keep it moving. Uptown Vito will be back with us
For
real
sure.
short. You know what I'm saying? So I'll let him introduce himself when he get back on. So, oh yeah, there you go. There we go. Uptown Vito back on. I'm gonna let you know we doing introductions, Vito. I'm just gonna let you go ahead and introduce yourself, you know, to the
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 10-year vet, Uptown Video, back in action on the live with the fellas again, bringing you the best of the best, man. Workhurst, man. You already know how it is.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So all right, so today what we're going to do for the people, man, is we're going to go through this new coaching staff. Washington has a whole new coaching staff, a whole new front, a whole new face on the coaching front. See, we went over the draft already. We went over the free agents. Then we went over the draft. Today, what we're going to do is go through the coaching staff and exactly what the coaching staff got going on, who's in the coaching staff, how they move, how they do their thing, what we feel about them. You know what I'm saying? And what we think the outlook is for their season and specifically and the individual coaches. You know what I mean? But before we do that, I'm gonna swing it around and let the guys, we're gonna go through them individually, but I want y'all to speak about the front office first, because y'all, you know, we've all went through who the coaching staff, who and what job they've done. And then after that, we'll get into the individual coaches. But I'm gonna swing it around, swing the thing around, and that way the guys can speak on what they feel about how the front office did in putting this coaching staff together, what they could have done better, what they didn't do, what they would have liked, what the guys would have liked, you know, and just go from it on that front.
I could jump in right now. I would say that I am very, very, very impressed with the front office and hiring Adam Peters, because I think that Adam Peters brings a whole new front to the Washington organization. I don't think that we've had anybody like Adam Peters since what's my guy name? McClellan. I think that's the last person that we had that, to me, with that type of tenacity, with that type of personality. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, McClellan worked with Dan Quinn in Seattle as well. So when you get McClellan and Quinn together, I think good things happen. So the same thing for Adam Peters. I feel like you put him with a McClellan type of guy, and it will be doing, will be great. I feel like they took their time with certain things, and I don't necessarily love the fact that they just kind of went after Dan Quinn, but I do love the fact that it is not only gaining a quarterback, but kind of crippling our opponents, crippling our rivals, going through the division and snatching key pieces of these different teams that's in our division. So I think that what they've done so far is masterful almost.
Okay, what you got, big son? What you got on the front office and how they put this together? Okay. What about you, Vito? What you got? What you got right now on the front office and how they put that together? I guess I'll go next then. I'll go next. I'm gonna take it on there. I'm gonna take it. I don't know if the
I,
guys heard me. No, I
I
don't know
think
if
we
we
just lost Big Son.
think we
I
just
think
lost
that's what
Big
it
Son.
was.
Oh no, I got Big Son back.
Yeah, my bad, y'all. I ain't know I had
Oh,
it on. Big Son,
okay, okay.
if Big Son ready, you can go. All right, maybe yeah, there you go. You good?
No, go ahead.
All right. So
Kind
for myself, I'm really excited about what we got coming up this year. I will say first and foremost, so I don't forget, I would have. I don't know if we would have gotten the same staff if Ben Johnson was the head coach. And that's not a shot at Ben at all. I think this is a very well thought out group.
Hey V, I want to agree with you on that. I'm just jumping in to agree with you because I definitely agree with you on that.
I think this is a well thought out group. I think even though I was high on Ben Johnson, I'm not sure if he would have had the same experience to go get the same guys that Dan has got in this situation. Peters, for his first year as a GM instead of an assistant, I think has done a wonderful job as well, putting some veteran coaches as well as some young guys in position so that he can either learn from the process, either guide through the process, know where you can make changes at and still have the core there. I also think that this staff is what you need to try to make the change that the team has been trying to make for some years past. Probably the last three, probably since Joe Gibbs, to be honest. This is what I think Snyder, if was trying to build. I think we had it with Jay Gruden. I will definitely agree and say we had it. But Jay Gruden being the head coach and Snyder never letting him go to put someone else with that group is probably one of the biggest mistakes that will probably want to not ever have to look back at. But I hope that this staff can kind of like change the way that things have gone over the years. I'm really impressed by their resume though.
Okay. You want to chime in, Big Son? Or you want me to go first? I'm gonna take it over. I'm gonna go ahead and jump in there. I like the staff. I'm actually pleasantly surprised with what they did. I'm gonna be honest. We have a number of very experienced people on the staff, and of course, all throughout the day, we're gonna go through over who those guys are. But the amount of experience, Super Bowl experience, playoff experience, just in-game experience, preseason experience, the amount of guys that we got on this staff that used to play in the NFL themselves. I mean, I don't think, I think that's one of the more impressive things that I've seen personally out of Adam Peters. You know, I've been hard on this group. Trust, I've been as hard on this group as anybody can be about a lot of stuff, you know, from Sam Howell to just whatever it is they got going on. I've been extremely hard on this group. But I gotta say, the coaching staff might be their strong point to me so far. What they did with the coaching staff might be one of the more stronger things for me, and one of the more impressive things that they've done, that this coaching staff has done. You know what I mean? Because man, they got some gems there. I feel like some guys that I know that can coach top to bottom, offense, defense, and special teams. Like Vito said, I'm not sure Ben Johnson would have had the experience or the relationships, because a lot of this coaching staff has gone back to previous relationships at previous places. So I'm not sure that Ben Johnson would have necessarily had the relationships that Quinn has had based on his tenure, in the NFL. I'm not sure he would have had the relationship.
And just a quick jump in, just to add to what you're saying. I'm not sure if Ben would have had the trust from Adam Peters because of being new but they both would have been new at the position.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think I just think that, back to what Vito was saying, well thought out, very well thought out, very well planned out, very well executed. And I'm just really, really impressed by the coaching staff as a whole, and especially the assistants. I would, just looking around the league, I believe, and of course, we're gonna go over the coaching staffs of the other NFC East opponents and some of the other teams that are threats in the NFC East, especially once we do our outlook throughout the season. But I might put some money on it that we have one of the better assistant coaching staffs in the NFL. I would put some more as far as experience, game experience, coaching experience. These assistants are amazing, man. These assistants that we have that are in this building are really, really, really impressive on paper. And this is on paper. Now, whether they can work together, chemistry, all of that goes to be seen. But on paper, I know these guys to be good coaches, or I have seen them, whether it's with I mean, everybody in Washington Redskins Nation know that Ryan Kerrigan is on the staff. So even with Ryan Kerrigan, maybe he's never been a coach, but I saw what he did when Chase Young came in the league, and that defense and what that defensive line looked. And if you want to have any doubt to what they look like, go back to the first game of the season. Go back to the first game of the season against the Eagles, and you'll see exactly what them people's what that defensive line looked like with Ryan Kerrigan around them. So from what I see, this was very impressive. This was very. This is my more. Of course, the free agency. I feel like you could have done something different. Draft, you might have could have done something different. But with this coaching staff, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I'm pleasantly surprised. Pleasantly surprised. And I don't think that the media, the Washington, D.C. media, is covering enough of this coaching staff. I don't think they're giving enough credit to Adam Peters. They're giving credit for all this other stuff, but they're not really mentioning the coaching staff that's been put together here. So that's one of the reasons why I'm glad we're able to jump on it first. The Nature Sports Network, you know what I'm saying? We were one of the first ones to get to it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think they're getting enough credit through the press and through the different press, press aspects of it, and nobody's asking enough questions about the coaching staff. So, Big Son, if you ready, you can chime on in. I don't think do we got Big Son? All right, we might
Yeah,
not.
I'm here.
Oh, all
I'm
right.
here. I'm just trying to get this thing together, but I mean, I guess it's together as it's going to be. Um, I uh, I honestly like the time that they took, the way they paid attention to detail to the things that we needed, like even to getting Johnny Newton, a piece that we discussed that could be a very valuable piece, and to get him where we got him at was a steal. Not only him, but players like the Pro Bowler center, Dallas Viedas, uh, Allegretti. I mean, his overall ain't nothing to be screaming about. But if you look at the guy, he got good work ethic and good pedigree. Um, I'm still up in arms a little bit about the McCaffrey pick, to be honest. But uh, with production, I guess that'll fade away. Also, like I keep screaming, I mean, Dan ain't do it, so I'm gonna get that man his flowers right here. And we gave Harris a hard way to go in his first season. So big ups to Harris for retiring the great 28. Um,
Yeah.
Also, I just like the relationship that Quinn and Adam have. I've seen them guys kind of working together a little bit in the what do you call it, in the war room. Seen them working a little bit together in the war room, and they were like serious about their business. They had a couple smiles on their face when they got their players, but while they were getting the work done, it wasn't that too many smiles. Like those are the type of people I want to see around here. Serious about the business, ready to get someone in here to get ready to and compete. You know, we've been looking for a contender around these parts for a long time. I haven't had one, but I think looking forward, that's something we could be looking forward to. Being contenders around here. And with that being said, um, the coaching staff, the assistants, we have guys like in the building that have what's my guy name from the Chargers?
Glenn,
He's gonna be
the running back coach.
yeah, running back coach. He's gonna be the running back coach. So, guys like him, guys who have coaching minds, we got a pretty good decent staff here. Like bringing in guys like that just shows me that they want to win around here. And for you to want to win around here, you can get a lot of people behind you, the whole city possibly, maybe even more. But what I think of what they did, I think they did an excellent job. I think they, like I say, I think they paid extra careful attention to detail, and really comb through it with a fine tooth comb. So I just can't wait to see what these guys are going to put together for the season, and what type of team we will end up with. Around playoff time.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. So I guess we can get to it, fellas. I guess we can get to it. So, um, within the coaching staff, we're gonna start at the top. We're gonna go through the coaching staff, and just to let all the fans know out there, we're gonna go through the coaching staff one by one and see what we got one by one. You know what I'm saying? And just get the fellas' opinion, what they think, what they've seen out of these coaches when they were with other teams, and really just what this outlook from this coaching staff looks like. So we're gonna start, I guess, at the top of the food chain. Dan Quinn, you know what I'm saying? Dan Quinn, and I'm gonna shoot it around the room. I'll go last, you know what I'm saying? But what you fellas got? Well, I'll give a briefing. Let me get the fans a small briefing on Dan Quinn. And then we'll send it around the room. Dan Quinn has 21 years coaching experience. He was with the Dallas Cowboys since 2021. He took that, and when he got there, they were ranked 28th in the NFL. Let me adjust my mic. They were ranked 28th in the NFL. He took them from 28th in 2021 to number 5 the next year, averaging 29 points a game. They were 7th in yards allowed over the span since he's been there. So this is going through the whole time he's been there. They were 7th in yards allowed per game, 6th in sacks with 141 sacks. They were ranked number 1 in the NFL with 59 interceptions. And also they were ranked number 4 on third down percentage. So Dan Quinn really went to Dallas as a coordinator and really made his impact. Before that, he was a coach with the Atlanta Falcons, where he took them also to a Super Bowl. So Dan Quinn really has a lot of experience. So I'm gonna shoot it around to the guys, just giving them a briefing. Just want to give y'all a briefing on Dan Quinn and some of the things he's done before he got here to Washington. So we swing it around. What y'all got on Quinn?
You want to go first, V?
You got it, Leo?
No, you can go ahead and go first if you was about to jump in. I was just I was going to jump in if nobody else did.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, man, Dan Quinn, man, best known for the Legion of Boom. I mean, of course, taking Atlanta to a Super Bowl, and they had. Hello,
Yeah, yeah. Vito.
you guys got me. I'm back.
No. We missed that last statement.
Gotta leave and come back.
All right. All right, Point. You want to take that one?
I'll jump in. Yeah.
All right.
So, my opinion about Dan Quinn, I was really excited when we got Dan Quinn. I was extremely excited actually when
You
we
was the
got.
only one. I'm gonna keep it real. You was the only one.
Yeah. So like, I it's not like that was my top choice, you know. But I honestly feel like he was a better candidate than Ben Johnson. And now looking at the staff that's developed around him, I still feel like he was a better candidate than Ben Johnson. I feel like Ben Johnson is a good coach, and he's done very well given the opportunity to be the offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. But look at Dan Quinn's resume, bro. Look at it. It's a beautiful resume. He's a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator. He's been to the Super Bowl as a head coach, and he's taken a bad defense and developed them into one of the league leading defenses. So like with his resume, he's a proven results getter. He gets
That's true.
results. And that's one thing that you cannot take away from somebody like Dan Quinn, because guess what? Legion of Boom, proof is in the pudding. If you look at Atlanta's secondary, it got a lot better when he was there. And then you go look at what he did in Dallas. The secondary got a lot better. When we look at our biggest problems on our defense over the last couple years, we could say that it's been the secondary.
That's true.
We could say that the linebackers have been an issue, but we could say it's been the secondary as well. And so for us to go get a coach that is strongest at our weakest point, or one of our weak points at least. I think that's a very good thing. I'm ecstatic to have Dan Quinn, and honestly, watching his interviews, watching all of the other stuff, I feel like a bit of I feel vindicated a little bit, because I feel like this is one of the best hires. I was not happy that he was coming from the Cowboys. I usually would be totally against it, but if there is one coach that I could say that I probably would say, all right, he's from the Cowboys, but he's really a Seahawk. You know what I'm saying? From how most people look at him, even though he was the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons as well, you know, I think this is going to be great for this team. I think he's going to help build our team. I think that even in the event that he doesn't do well as head coach, we will be in a better position to go further and further and further. But I'm not saying he won't be a great coach. I think he'll do very well here. I think that he has learned from his mistakes in Atlanta, because after that Super Bowl, there was no coming back from it. The fan base just wasn't going to support him the same way. They feel like he dropped the Super Bowl. And I
Yeah,
mean, you
28 to
could say
3.
that. Yeah, you could say that. You could definitely say that. But it's Brady, and it doesn't happen often, but it happened to him. And so I think that after that, he lost the team. You lose a Super Bowl like that, you lose the team, and then everything else after that is going to go downhill. I think that he has learned from that, and I think that right now, from the interviews to the press conferences to the calling the players on draft day, I just have been very happy with what I've seen from Dan Quinn.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, my bad. I got off. I had to let some fans in on the Instagram. Shout out to all our followers on the gram.
Yes, indeed.
Like I said, mine is simply the Legion of Boom. Everybody remembers that defense. That defense was by far like one of the most exciting defenses to watch, and I think it's in challenge with the Ray Lewis Baltimore Ravens defense. The only thing that puts that one ahead to me is how exciting those guys were to watch. Seattle was a blast to watch as far as defensively. The Ravens were more, if you like, the old school rugged. I'm not letting you score or letting you get a down, and which was beautiful to watch too. But that football just isn't around as much anymore. And Seattle's defense is kind of what you want your team to be able to do, even if you are giving up points, which is swarm to the ball, cause turnovers and things of that sort. And I think that that's what everybody remembers about Dan Quinn. Of course, those years in Dallas does exist. He did turn their terrible defense into a defense that I hated seeing on Sundays because they wasn't us at the time. Also, giving some credit to the fact that even though Atlanta did miss out on that Super Bowl opportunity, he was also able to take that team consistently to the playoffs while he was the head coach there. And that's something that's also to look at as a good note for our team as well. The third point that I would have is that even though the coordinator was who it was, Atlanta's offense was good during that time as well. And your head coach has to manage your team. So who you hire for your offense and how it goes and everything like that belongs to the head coach. And I think that my most excited part about Dan Quinn, the biggest out of everything with him being signed, was the fact that I have not heard Joe Gibbs' name attached or associated with any coach here since he left. And Dan Quinn, to see that him and Joe Gibbs were talking to each other and that Joe Gibbs called him or he called Joe Gibbs, one or the other. And I believe that Joe Gibbs called him to reach out with him being the coach here and expressing how important it was to get this team on the right track. I think everyone is focused. I think people are, I don't even know if people are understanding how laser focused I feel like the coaching staff is. It has to translate to the field, but I really feel like these guys have a plan. And that's not what I always see going into a season over the last few years with us.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. What you got, big son?
For me, uh, Dan Quinn, I was I really liked when I found out that we got him because I was so upset when we lost Jack Del Rio because Jack just wasn't going for it, and we all know that story. But I was excited because it gave me hope again to see us have a good defense. I mean, if we, regardless of how much football has changed, we all know that defense still win championships. That's still the mantra, So to get a guy like Dan Quinn coming in, who changed Dallas from one of the worst teams when it comes to getting interceptions to like Dane the lead in the league, last 3 years? Interceptions is crazy. So I was ecstatic to get a guy like him to bolster our defensive side. And also, I don't really know too much about what's the coordinator's name? Now that's what I'm saying. I don't even this guy Cliff. Like I don't really know too much about Cliff, but if Quinn was I guess gave the nod and the okay, like okay, I guess he believes in what he sees in that guy. So um Quinn is just a breath of fresh air to me around here because I thought we had were going to honestly pick Bill, and I did not want that on so many levels. I didn't want that. I just think he's over the hill, and I think that the acquisition that was made was the proper one and the right one at that time. Johnson was a hot commodity, but if I was Johnson, I wouldn't even had no meat nowhere else. You'd have built a good brand up there in Detroit. You should have stayed there. So we got the right guy. I like Quinn.
Okay, let me ask y'all this, and I'm gonna send this question around the room. Do y'all, because it's all been positive. Well, let me say what I feel about Quinn first, and then I'll send this one around the room. Um, I think that Dan Quinn is a good coach. Like that's the first thing. As we read off the stats, it's no doubt about it. And again, I said I was impressed by the staff that he chose. I mean, it's no doubt he chose a lot of the right people in my opinion. He chose all of the right people in my opinion. I don't really have anybody that I feel like wasn't a good choice. I feel like everybody, as far as the coordinators and the assistants, I feel like all of them were pretty good choices. Maybe not the quarterback coach. We'll get into that a little bit later. But outside of that one, I feel like everybody else was really a good choice. Dan Quinn, for me, I want to see. I mean, and this is just what I feel about Quinn is. I want to see the same grit that I saw in Dallas. I want to see the same grit that I saw in Dallas. I want to see the same tenacity that I saw in Dallas because I feel like the thing that he brought to the Cowboys and the Seahawks was a little bit of nastiness. That I'm not sure they had now. Again, and again, I'm gonna go into the next question with this. So I'm gonna talk the positive first. I feel like his defense should be good. I feel like regardless of where he's went, he's gotten a lot of interceptions. And so he's turned the secondary. And with us having Forbes and Forrest and Martin in the secondary, I think that's a strength to have Dan Quinn as your coach. Because I'm sure that he understands the importance of a good secondary. We got, and again, with Dan Quinn came Bobby Wagner. I'm not sure we get Bobby Wagner without Dan Quinn. So I think that's a positive. I think that comes with certain players and even coaches. Joe Witt. Do we get Joe Witt without Dan Quinn? Probably not. You know what I mean? Even Cliff Kingsbury. Do you get him without Quinn? Probably not. So I just think that he gave us a little bit of desire when maybe other coaches might not wanted to come here. And it's hard to say that because Eric Bieniemy was probably the hottest coach on the market when he left and he came here for whatever reason. But he came. And so, but I'm not sure that other coaches would have been as enthusiastic about coming. But Quinn got the coaches that I feel like, maybe wouldn't have came if it wasn't for him. So I think those are all positive pieces. I think he's a good X and O's guy. I would now going to, and I'm gonna send this around the room before I get into it. Do y'all have any concerns with Quinn? What are your concerns when it comes to Quinn? Let's send that one around the room.
I can say one of my concerns with Dan Quinn is that offensively. Okay, offensively, he's going to make some of those right decisions. When you look at that Super Bowl and you look at the decisions that were made offensively in that Super Bowl, you up to continue to throw the ball. You don't have to. When you're in those type of big game moments, because getting there is one thing, but being on that big stage, um, as everybody knows, I'm a big boxing guy, and to me, what I was saying about Jaime Moringa throughout the weekend was he's on a different stage now. You get what I mean?
Right.
I don't want to get to that big stage and you do what you did with Atlanta.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
That is my concern with Dan Quinn. Not that, not too much of anything else, but the big stage matters. You know what I mean? And so get into that big stage and failing so miserably, and I'm gonna keep it real. That's just what it was to me, a miserable failure. Failing so miserably, right? Having the game in your grasp and then letting it go. How does that affect you as a fighter? As a boxer, out in boxing, you kind of never the same fighter. And it's,
Mm.
are you that same guy? Are you going to be a bet? Now, don't get me wrong. Dan Quinn has came in and done what he is supposed to do, and he has earned his head coaching spot. So it's not like he didn't get back up after being knocked down. But how much of that is still affecting him today? That's my one concern about Dan Quinn.
Okay. Okay. Who up next? What you got? What you got on the concerns with Quinn?
Uh, I'll say I wouldn't say it's no concern. I would say okay. So his first two, well, no, they didn't get two. They only got one in Seattle, right?
Right.
Yeah, they only got one in Seattle.
They went to two. No, they went
He
to two. They lost to the
No, I'm
Patriots.
saying they only
Yeah.
got one. They
Yeah.
only got one.
Yeah.
You know, so they only got one in Seattle, and he went as a coach with Atlanta. You know, so that was after Seattle. So I think honestly, like we a couple of you guys were mentioned earlier. I think I can't remember which one of you said it. He learned from his mistakes. I think he's going to learn from that mistake. I think once he gets to that stage again, it's kind of like you were saying, point like kind of like a big stage of boxing. Like once you get to a point where you realize, hey, look, this is different, and this didn't happen before. I'm not going to let it get back to that type of build up. I'm not going to let it overcome me like it did last time. I'm not going to let these glitz and glamour and all these lights and flashes from the cameras and the sounds and the force from the crowd distract me. You know, so I really don't have no concern when it comes to that. My concern is don't be uh such of a players coach that you that you look past that player if he's messing up. Y'all got such a good relationship. That don't just that's my concern. I hear a lot of people say, "Oh man, he's such a players coach." Don't be such a players coach that you can't hold your players accountable. That's my only concern.
Mm. Mm. What you got, Vito, on some of the concerns with Quinn? What are your concerns you got with Quinn?
Zero.
Zero?
I have
I ain't
zero.
expecting him to say that. No concerns?
Reason why I have no concerns because what has the team been in the last 20 something years? If the only thing, the only concern, yeah. So if I had a concern, I don't have any, but if I had a concern, it would be if Dan were to coach the team like Ron Rivera. As long as our records don't reflect the records of what Ron Rivera or Jay Gruden was outside of the 1 year Jay had good, I can't see me having any concerns. If we're talking about a coach who's been in 3 Super Bowls and you guys' concern is not ending up in a situation that he's ended up in before, to me that's a great situation. I haven't seen that situation since 1991. So pardon me if I don't have any concerns for
Now,
getting there.
let
Because
me
at
correct.
that point, if we
I wasn't saying I wasn't saying the problem is getting there. I said the problem is once we get there that he does not do the same thing. You know what I mean?
no, no,
Like
no. That's what I'm saying to y'all. That if that's what your concern is, I'm not knocking that. I'm saying that that's not a concern to me because my team hasn't been there since 1991. If he can do that, guess what happens if he does that again? We are now going to be in line to get a coach that could get it done, like an Andy Reid. Not saying Andy Reid, but a coach that will be able to get it done. In previous years, we couldn't even get a coach interested, yet alone players interested to even come here to make that type of run. So if those are the concerns, I'm really actually even more excited about it because if you guys can see a Super Bowl in the near, let's say 3 years, that's even further than my expectations, and I'd be even more excited about that. I'm not worried about the big game in that particular aspect because when he was with Seattle, that's not his resume. That's not how those games went. In Atlanta, you're the head coach, and I don't think that he had Joe Witt as a defensive coordinator, meaning that the coordinator that they had there, I'm not sure if they were as compatible as him and Joe Witt are together in their most recent years as they were in Dallas. As far as asking of a group to get a certain amount of turnovers or meet a certain amount of stops a season, and they're able to do it. Um, Also, with that Atlanta defense during that game, I think that Kyle and Dan, even though Kyle was the offensive coordinator, I think that they were forced to try to keep scoring because their defense wasn't as strong as some of Dan's defenses in the previous seasons. It was good, but I think they were like closer to the 10th to 15th than they were at the front of the season and it's Tom Brady for goodness sake. I mean, Atlanta can be upset and all of that, but we were just talking about this. It is the Michael Jordan of football.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm not like I said, I'm just more or less like he's the guy that can get you to the big game and I do recognize that, but that's not the only big stage. The playoffs is a big stage. The Super Bowl is the biggest stage. You know what I mean? So if you can get us to the biggest stage, even if we fail, that's a positive year, quote unquote. It's not a negative year. You want to win, but it's not a negative year. But I just don't want him to get to those big games. And like you said, with Joe Witt, it might be a difference. It might be an offensive difference with Cliff Kingsbury. It might be just a little different, and I can respect that. I'm just saying that that's my, I don't want to be let down at the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So like, I
And
will
not,
respect.
that's what I'm saying. If we go to the Super Bowl, I'm not. I don't, and I don't mean that I don't want to win. Y'all know I would want to win more than anything, bro. I really couldn't even think of too many things to put in front of what I would want more than us to win
Yeah,
a Super Bowl. But to be very honest, that game is so hard to reach, and I know that the Mahomes and the Brady's make this look tremendously easy, but it's
yeah,
not an easy game to get to. And I honestly would be so ecstatic of our team's growth if we were able to make that leap in the next two. He's got a 3 year contract or 5 year. I think he's got three-year contract. Even still, regardless, in the next 3 to 5 years, if we're able to make it to that stage, one, here's what I think and what I would be proud of. Do you know how long our team would be good if we made it to the Super Bowl, guys? Our team
right.
would be good for years. Like it would be we would be like the Eagles. How the Eagles was in the '90s. Like it was just always in the playoffs. And yes, the Super Bowl is the goal. But at least I know that we would be arguing about going to the Super Bowl on a consistent basis if we're able to reach that mark. I feel like we just got to get back to the playoffs and get back to used to seeing winning football to even have that conversation. I mean, but that's just to me as far as being a fan and understanding that we got to have that breakthrough season. Like this whole the talk of the change of the culture, having the coaching staff, which I actually am very happy with. The draft that I was very proud of. but it has to translate on the field. I know I'm big on saying that. Like, it's got to translate on the field. And if it doesn't happen year one, I'd be a little disappointed as far as them making it to the playoffs. But I do understand that it's building, and I got to see that these guys are building something. And if I can continue to see that what they've done in the off season and what they do in the field looks like they're building something, I'm super happy. And I'm predicting Super Bowl in what year very soon if I can see that in the first 4 to 5 weeks.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I can see, and I want to wait till they translate on the field, but this will be my early prediction. I could see us doing very well within the next 3 years. I could see us going to the potential playoffs this year. Um, my opinion. Maybe not like a first seed, but I could see us doing really well this season, and I could see us potentially getting into a Super Bowl position within the next 2 3 years. If Jaden Daniels works out, like realistically, if Jaden Daniels works out in 2 3 years, we should be able to get to that spot.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Because I think we built a great defense. Like, let's be real. Like, we built a great defense. Even I would love Bobby to stay for those 3 years, but in the event that Bobby doesn't stay for those 3 years, we still have a very, very good middle linebacker in Frankie Louvu, and I think that we drafted a really good middle linebacker. So I do think that potentially he has that ability to get us there.
I agree. My concern is exactly what Point said, though. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm with you, Vito. Like, I still would be glad to go. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. To be playing in January and February, late January and February, for the fans who've never experienced that Saturday morning, whether it's wild card weekend or whether it's divisional weekend, when
Y'all
you
don't
wake
know how
up
the
that
city gonna
morning
be.
and y'all got a playoff game, it's nothing like it. It's nothing like it. And I hope that everybody can experience that. You know what I mean? As far as for Redskins Nation, man, I just hope and pray that sometime soon that y'all can experience that, because it's no other feeling like that when you wake up during the playoffs and y'all got a game. You know what I'm saying? And y'all playing, um, and you got it's January 30th and y'all still playing and everybody else out of it. You know what I'm saying? To be able to look at them other people in the face and say, "Hey, man, y'all out of it." So, man, I don't know what y'all ain't playing today. That's that ain't,
When you call your friends and say, hey, come to my house, man. We got a game
right.
on today. I know you
Hey,
ain't playing, but you can come
hey,
over and watch us play today.
hey, it's something special, and to see the DC area as well. If you've never been in the DC area
Man,
during playoff time,
y'all don't know,
oh,
Greg. Slim, take
oh,
it back to 2012 when RG3 lit the league up.
yeah,
Slim, the city was going crazy. It was cold outside around that time. Slim, people still outside.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
cold. I don't know what that year, Slim. I remember it like the back of my head.
yeah,
It was cold that year, Slim. But we ain't
man.
care. We was in the playoffs.
Hey,
We ain't
it's
care.
something special. It is something special, and especially to get past that first round. We haven't really experienced that since Brad Johnson, I believe, and I could be wrong, but maybe Sean Taylor. I think Sean Taylor. We got to the second round with Sean Taylor when we beat Tampa
Yeah,
Bay. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
in the
We
wild
beat the
card.
Bucks. We beat the
Yeah,
Bucks. Yeah,
yeah, and so
that was a great time too. That was a great
yeah,
time too.
great time, man, great time. So I want our city to get a taste of that, to get a taste of that. Because once you get a taste of, that's why a lot of people don't understand why a lot of Redskin fans now are like, oh, well, this team ain't good, so y'all shouldn't feel like, y'all, I don't know how y'all think y'all gonna win every year. It's because we've tasted that. You know what I'm saying? We've tasted that. I mean, the economy is good. I don't care what business you in the DC area. When the Redskins are in the playoffs, you gonna make some money. You gonna make some money. Everybody, I mean, everything is much, much better. The air smell cleaner. Just everybody's in a better
Let
mood. I
Let's
mean,
balance.
it's great, man. It's great. So I don't want that to happen, and we're up 28-3 in the Super Bowl and we lose. I'm not sure this area could take that. I'm gonna keep it real. So to just jump on what Point said, I don't want that. I mean, we can lose. I'd rather lose like San Francisco lost. You know what I'm saying? I'd
Yeah,
rather lose
exactly.
like that than to lose you up 28-3. and you don't close the deal. You don't
Well,
close
I
the
mean,
deal.
respectfully speaking, the only team that would do that to us, i.e., via, well, excuse me, not i.e., but via based on what happened to Atlanta would be currently Kansas City. And if
Right.
anybody's upset that you let Patrick Mahomes come back from 28-3, you're bonkers.
But
He's done
28,
that. It's not like you
you're
have.
right. You're
Listen,
right.
listen to what I'm saying. Atlanta doesn't have a Super Bowl. That was their first time experiencing that at all. Our fan base has had a Super Bowl. We got trophies in our building.
That's true.
Okay, that would be very disheartening and disappointing. But the one thing Atlanta couldn't bank on, that we could bank on, you can't talk trash like that here and we not go back to the playoffs or go back to the Super Bowl. Atlanta
He
did
would have
not
to
go
go back.
back to the
He would have to go
playoffs.
back, or he would be fired.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I'm
but
saying. I believe that our team, based on how the media is and the city, you would that would be when the team would fall apart if we went to the Super Bowl, lost that jump, and then we didn't repeat or we didn't win the division the next year. That's when the team would fall apart because the city
I,
would still be amped up for the fact that we're still the representatives of the whole. You got to remember that the Cowboys and the Eagles and the Giants got to watch us on that Sunday. Nobody's going to be able to take that apart, take that away from us. Even if we lose, those other teams aren't in that game.
right, right. That's my. But that is, I don't know though. That 28-3, man. That's a ugly. And so I'm with Point on that one. I
By
don't.
far, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I want that to be the scenario. I'm not asking for that to ever happen to us. Of course, I would take the Super Bowl. But again, here's the thing: losing the Super Bowl is losing the Super Bowl. The score
Yeah.
of it and how you do when you've never been there is just going to be
Right.
disheartening regardless. And because and they are hurt like that because they felt like they had it. At 28-3, they were already counting the win and they didn't finish the game. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. We've been through all of every scenario that every other team could possibly go through. We've already been through it in all of our seasons. Like, and that's why I was happy that that Adam Peters kept certain players on the team because we need those players that have gone through losing and not making the playoffs, like the Jonathan Allen, the Deron Paynes. We need those guys that still are hungry. We need those guys that still feel like they
I agree.
deserve to be recognized that
I
haven't
agree.
been recognized because those are the ones that's going to make sure that 28-3 never happens as a
I
comeback and you lose.
I agree
Yeah.
with that. I agree with that. But at the same time, I'm gonna say this too. Could Dan Quinn come back from 28-3? Again, if he lost again like that, I think that would do something to his psyche too. You know what I'm saying? I think that would
Um,
do something to his psyche. Now, it might be positive. It might do something positive to his psyche. But I think that in
yeah,
any
because
playoff
you also
game,
got to remember that I believe Cal left after that.
yeah, Kyle left. Yep,
So you also diminished your opportunity to make it back too.
I
You know what I'm
agree.
saying? So maybe the Atlanta fan base maybe didn't look at some of the other factors as well in that. You lost hope in your coach, but you didn't even give your coach a fighting chance. Well, your offensive coordinator actually is the one that, should have felt bad about that too because you went blank after that 28-3. You didn't even get a field goal, and that's all you would have needed to get that into overtime, I believe. No, I think they did go to overtime.
With overtime, they definitely went
So
to
again,
overtime.
you would have needed that field goal to get the win. The offensive coordinator didn't get it, and he rolled out and left all of that on your head coach. And I'm not saying that Shanahan is to take blame for leaving because he did have a head coaching opportunity, but you also killed the opportunity for y'all to repeat with the team that you had.
I agree. I
I
agree
do
with that.
have. I thinking about that. I do have a question now. Before the next question. So because we seen what happened when Cal left, right?
Mhm.
If Cliff Kingsbury isn't as good of a coordinator as we think he can be, you know what I mean? Um, how would Dan Quinn be able to be successful? And if not, who would be an offensive option at that spot?
At
Um,
coordinator,
Yeah, I mean, if Kingsbury is just not a good coordinator, let's say he go out there and he looked like it looked like last year. Let's say that, and we got a
if
whole new,
well,
you know?
just to me, if that happens, you have two options. Number one, it is Adam Peters' job before Dan Quinn's to
Right.
know that the team is in need of that.
Okay.
Um, I guess to go to Dan for Adam to make sure that you're okay with the relationship that you guys have if I have to let him go, or how is your relationship with him because we may need to upgrade at that spot, and I need to
Yeah.
know that you have the business ahead of what you and Big Son said about that player or that relationship coach. Like, can you let that relationship go to grow in this situation? I also believe that we have Brian Johnson for this very situation right here. That if Clint Kingsbury doesn't work out, you don't necessarily have to go out and bring somebody new in. You can bring in upgraded coach that you already have to that position, just in case there aren't any offensive options to go get.
Okay.
Now, secondly, my option at offense of coordinator, interesting enough, and y'all would be wild as I don't know what to hear my answer, but I would like to see what the enemy does at
There
UCLA,
you go.
and
I
it
was thinking the
wouldn't
same
and it
thing.
wouldn't be and it wouldn't be that far of a reach if he were able to get an opportunity if he could build something unique up there.
I was
Okay.
thinking the same thing though, Vito. I was thinking be enemy. You go back to be enemy because he did interview
I
for the
know
job.
it'll be a stretch, but like I said, he'd have to.
Himself.
They didn't dismiss him. You got to remember when Quinn took the job, he immediately didn't dismiss Eric Bieniemy. He at least interviewed him. He interviewed for the job. He just did end up going with Kingsbury. But Bieniemy definitely interviewed for the job, and I wouldn't mind seeing Bieniemy back. I think Quinn would force him to run the ball more. I would like to see that. Um, but outside of that, I mean, I didn't really have outside of running the ball and pass protecting. I didn't have a problem with Eric Bieniemy. I thought that he did some good things, with the wide receiver core and with the quarterback. I just think it was he didn't run the ball, which he didn't, which effectively when you're one dimensional, you're going to get sacked a lot. I don't care who you are. Maybe Dan Marino might be the only person I didn't see get sacked a lot in that crazy season he had down there in Miami in '84, I believe, where he threw for 5,200 yards for the first time. Anybody threw for 5,000 or whatever he threw for. I think that Dan Marino might have been the only one, only because his release was, I mean, fast. You know what I'm saying? Like his release was stupid fast. So, and because of the offense they were running. But outside of that, if you get one dimensional, a lot of times you can get sacked a lot. So that's the only problems I had with him. So to answer your question, I say Eric Bieniemy would be the viable option. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna move right along. We're gonna move right along to the next coach. I just want to hear y'all concerns. Again, that's my concern with Quinn. That's the main thing. Oh, one more. I got one more concern with Quinn. Since we on the concerns. I like in Dallas, right? Quinn had a problem with teams, the better teams against the better teams. He had a problem against the better teams. Dallas, and it could be just Dallas, the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott has had a problem against the better teams his whole career. But so I don't know if this is a Dan Quinn problem, if this is a Dak Prescott problem. I don't know if this is a Dallas Cowboy problem, if it's a Jerry Jones problem, a Stephen Jones. We don't know what problem it is. But there was a problem in Dallas with against the better teams. And they didn't really perform well against the better teams. They beat up on the bums though. Whatever that team just was, whatever they wasn't doing, they beat, no foul. They, what I'm saying, crushed them. But the teams that were on the up and up, they had issues with. Last year, I think they beat the Lions by 1 on Monday night. A lot of people say they shouldn't even won that game, because of the holding penalty. So if I have any concern as well with Dan Quinn is how you can beat the teams that you're supposed to. And I think that he'll perform well. I think our staff by itself, I think is going to be superior to a lot of those teams who are just not there yet. So I don't expect them to play bad against those types of teams. And again, we'll go through the schedule later on in our not here, not in this broadcast, but in another broadcast, we'll go through the schedule. So I'm not that concerned about the teams that are not performing well or decimated by injuries or whatever drama they might have in their locker room, whatever. I'm not concerned with them. I'm concerned with when playoff time roll around or when you need a game and you playing a team that's good or when the big boys come into this place, or we go to the big boys' place, I want, I'm a little concerned about that. That got me a little concerned. How are we going to perform under those circumstances? Because my thing is this: we want this team, and this is my vision. If I could have any say on how the Redskins are, moving forward, I would say that my say would be, hey, I want us, and I'm gonna use Gibbs. One thing about it is relevant. When you're relevant, then like for instance, we'll take Quinn. When Quinn was relevant, playing again, when he was with Seattle, for instance, they were relevant. It didn't matter who came in that building. It was going to be a rumble. You knew it was going to be a rumble. So whether it was Tom Brady who came in the building, you remember the catch where they all were both team, or Aaron Rodgers, or whoever that the Seattle Seahawks played during that Legion of Boom era. You knew that team was ready to play against whomever that played. Now, they were never outmatched. And so, or they was never the feel of being outmatched. You know what I mean? And so if any concern I have, it's not really against the bottom level teams with Quinn, it's the top level teams with Quinn. I want to see us really play well against, and I don't mean play well and lose. I would like to see us with a winning record against winning teams. That's when you've arrived. That's when you've arrived.
I can agree with that.
you know. So that's more my concern with Quinn. Because that's all on Quinn too. Yeah, you got good coordinators, you got this, but it's about time management during that time, which is Quinn's job as the coach. It's about challenges during that time, which is Quinn's job as the coach. It's about practice schedule, preparation, focus, penalties. That's all Quinn. That's all Quinn is the coach. That falls on his shoulders. Even how to manage Jaden Daniels. Yes, you have an offensive coordinator and you have a quarterbacks coach and all of that. We'll get into who those guys are. But really, those specific things falls on the neck of Dan Quinn when it comes to how to manage Jaden Daniels. That's a little bit of a concern to me too, because Dan Quinn has never developed a quarterback before. Matt Ryan was already there when he got there. So Dan Quinn has never really developed a quarterback. So that's another concern of mine. I think we're trying to get Vito back in. That's another concern of mine is how does he manage this thing with Jaden Daniels? This is a new situation for him. He's never had a rookie quarterback. I mean, he did have Russell Wilson. When he was the coordinator at Seattle, Russell Wilson was a rookie. They were relevant though when Russell got in there. They really were relevant. And I think that was a good combination. Great defense and running quarterbacks just go together like peanut butter and jelly. You get what I'm saying? So I think that's a positive thing is that we do have a running quarterback. I hope that the quarterback finds a way to protect himself, maybe, even outside the pocket, get out of bounds would be my advice. But that's a concern of mine too, is how he manages Jaden Daniels. And how he manages his career, his relationship with Jaden Daniels, all of these types of things, because he's never had a young quarterback before. And Dan Quinn has a strong personality. I haven't heard of him having any tiffs with any players or anything like that. So I'm not going to put that on him as if that's not really a concern. I think he's managed that part well. He, like Big Son say, he's a player's coach. The players love him. So I can't give him that. But this is a new time, new era. He's old school. So I know I think he was an Army brat or something like that. He's from this area, Salisbury, Virginia. So I know he got some love for this area. So I just think, again, that's one of the concerning things for me is with Jaden Daniels. Is
Man,
Jaden
yeah,
Daniels.
I think being the head coach in that situation, I think that because he's seen how Russell had to be handled, and they did get early success with Russell Wilson. It's not like Russell Wilson wasn't a rookie in the playoffs. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah,
because he's seen that firsthand, he has experience at it. You know what I mean? And I think that plays to his benefit a lot in this situation, even though he wasn't the head coach, even though he wasn't an offensive guy at that time. It's still, I got to see this front row how it can be done and be successful.
Right, right. I agree with that. I agree with that. He did get a front row picture of it. Do you think? Let me ask you. Do you think he talks to Pete Carroll? Do you think
Absolutely.
he has a conversation with Pete Carroll on how to do this?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dan Quinn seems to have good relationships throughout the league. So it would be no surprise to me that he was able to call Pete Carroll and say, "Hey Pete, um, give me some advice." You know what I mean? I got a young guy, I got a new quarterback. What did you do to help Russell? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but see, yeah, I agree with that, and I think Pete Carroll, and if anybody who knows Dan Quinn might reach out to Dan Quinn, whatever the case may be. If anybody, if anybody out there, want to, I think Pete Carroll would be an excellent person to talk to because Pete Carroll has developed plenty of quarterbacks. Matt Leinart. People forget that Pete Carroll had Matt Leinart out there at USC. You know what I'm saying? Russell Wilson, Geno Smith. Look what Pete Carroll did with Geno Smith. You know, Pete Carroll is masterful when it comes to developing quarterbacks.
The real
You know,
quarterback whisperer.
yeah, he's masterful when it comes to developing quarterbacks. So I think that would be an excellent person to talk to. Joe Gibbs is masterful too. If he got Joe Gibbs in his back pocket, like Vito said, that'll be a positive thing too.
Nah,
But
big time.
you know, but I think he's masterful. Oh, that was Big Son.
Nah,
Or was
nah.
that?
Okay.
I was
No,
responding
yeah,
to
yeah.
Tom.
We got a little sidebar. Yeah, okay.
Okay, all right, yeah. So, I think that was masterful for him to be able to reach out to Joe Gibbs, especially now with Jaden Daniels. We don't want to make no RG3 mistakes. And only thing I would say, which was managing his injury, managing the press, his dad obviously was a problem in the locker room. I mean, with all that stuff that went on, I would advise Quinn, if I could talk to Quinn and say, hey, Quinn, maybe you should really go watch that season over again. Look at the newspaper clippings. We have a huge media. This is not Dallas. No offense to Dallas. But this is one of the most powerful
Well,
media companies in the world because this is the nation's capital.
well,
So
I would say this with RG3, especially with his dad situation. Um, I really think that it was very dysfunctional in the organization at that time. I don't think that even with a guy that's a little more overbearing than the next guy, because Jaden Daniels' parents gonna be right there. You know what I'm saying? So like when you're dealing with that, you got to be mature yourself. And I really feel like Mike didn't want RG3. You know what I mean? And so because he didn't want RG3, he kind of acted like, for lack of a better term, a bitch. You know what I mean? I'm just being real. Mike, you acted like an old, bitch. It needs to be real. So you didn't understand you got a young guy that needs development. Um, Vito always alludes to Mike Tomlin, and I want to use Vito's point that he uses all the time. He's saying that if we can't coach them up, what is our job? And for somebody like that's a pure great talent like RG3, you're saying, oh, his dad's in the way. Well, you're an NFL coach and has been an NFL coach for years. You've won Super Bowls. You've been in an organization with Joe Montana and
All
Steve Young.
55 guys got dads. Right.
yeah,
Like get out of here. How's dad gonna stop what you do? You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Right.
RG3's dad found a way to get in the news, though. He was in the news every week, if y'all remember.
Nah, but
Yeah,
RG3 dad probably, like Leo said, he probably knew low key that Mike was hating on his son.
Right,
So
right,
the owner who
right.
picked me ain't speaking up. I'm gonna speak up for my child, bro. Because
yep.
again, y'all are mismanaging. If they handled the injury different, because that's the only thing I think they really did with RG3 that was mismanaging. At the point of the second injury, I think at that point, I think RG3 was ready to go. I think both sides was just done. Jay Gruden wasn't going to help him. He was clear about that. And I don't think that Daniel Snyder helped at all by even bringing in somebody. Even if Jay Gruden lied to you after their first season, when he lies, you let him go. By keeping
Yeah,
him, you don't show RG3 or his family that you got his back. And that's the only way that I would like them not to handle Jaden Daniels. If he happens to get injured, Lord willing, that's not the case. Because I don't think they're the same quarterback. So, you know what I'm saying that a young guy gets hurt, like I don't think that Ravens fans look and think that he's going to get hurt every year because he's a running quarterback. I'd like to change the narrative and think that as long as we manage him as a player and call good plays, that he's going to be fine this season. Sam Howell lasted all year and he got sacked more than everybody in the league. So there's something different about the staff. We also don't have that same medical staff that we had when everybody was just falling apart. You know what I'm saying? So I would like the culture to change all around and think that we're not going to have a quarterback who's injured and having injury problems because he runs. More so that if he has injury problems, because hey, it's a lot more games in the NFL than it is in college. There's a lot more preparation. There's a lot more going into how you manage your injuries or manage how your the aches and pains and stuff like that at a daily rigmarole, things like that. So I think if they manage him as far as if he does get injured, to let him heal up before he comes back, to not rush it and anything like that, I think we're in a good situation. Like I said, you got your quarterback of the future. You got to treat him like that and not treat him like somebody that you're just waiting for the next guy to come in to replace.
yeah, yeah. I totally agree. I totally agree. But it's still a concern because it can go left. And if it goes left, it's gonna reek. We might not be able to draft another quarterback number 2 overall ever again. If it go left. Not a running quarterback, to be
Come on, man.
honest.
We gotta
So
get to
yeah,
this
so
next.
we're gonna go to the next. We're gonna get on to the next man. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get on to the next one. We're gonna get on. We got up here. See what we got here. Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury. Send it around the room. What y'all got on Kingsbury?
Read off his what's the name for
Oh
us?
yeah, yeah. Let me get his outlook. Let's get his outlook, his resume dropped in. You know, shout out to everybody out there listening, man. It's the Nature Sports Podcast. We are bringing you the major Mondays. We are talking about the coaching staff. We know that y'all all want an opportunity to meet the coaching staff, you know, and a lot of people not going over the coaching staff, but we want to give y'all opportunity to see who they were, and what they were doing. And so we're gonna ride with that. You know what I'm saying? So let's get it on. Let's get it on. Let's go all the way out. Let's go. Cliff Kingsbury, offensive coordinator. Um, he was last year, he was USC's he was for USC, he was their offensive analyst. He was not a coordinator, he was the analyst for all. He got a lot of credit. A lot of people said he was calling plays. He was not calling plays out there in USC. He was just the analyzer what their offense was doing. Their offense still scored 41 points a game with Cliff Kingsbury, and he was there specifically to work with Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams ended up having 30 touchdowns. Before he was at USC, he was the head coach for the Arizona Cardinals from 2019 to 2022. Arizona in 2021 posted 11-6 record and secured a playoff berth under Cliff Kingsbury's tutelage. That was the first head coach since 2015 for Arizona to win 11 plus games in a single season. So it's good to have that on his resume and just the work go down. Cliff Kingsbury, before that, he served as the head coach from 2013 to 2018. He was the head coach at Texas Tech. And so where he just had pretty much a plethora of quarterbacks. Johnny Manziel was there. Sorry, but after that, no, sorry. Let me go back. He had a plethora of quarterbacks from Patrick Mahomes, which is really the one that really got everybody going out there for Cliff Kingsbury. He also, before he was at Texas Tech, he was the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach at Texas A&M, where he also had Johnny Manziel. At Patrick Mahomes in college under Cliff Kingsbury had 4,600 yards and 36 touchdowns, becoming the youngest quarterback in history, 1,000 total yards. That was all under Kingsbury, man. So Kingsbury, um, really done his thing. You know what I'm saying? Really done his thing out there at Texas Tech, and then over at the Arizona Cardinals, at least for one season, he went ahead and got himself in there as a playoff coach. So he does have one playoff season under his belt. Now we will swing it around the room. With that being said, to see what the guys think about Cliff Kingsbury, which I got on him.
I can go. I feel like Kingsbury. I feel like Kingsbury is a is the one coach on the staff I'm concerned about.
Agreed.
Um, I really think that I gotta see more from him. You know, now don't get me wrong. I understand that when he took over Arizona, he got rid of the quarterback that they drafted the year before for his guy that he was coaching in college, and I respect the fact that he has belief in his players. But I would I would like to see what he actually can do in an offensive coordinator setting in the NFL because I feel like his offense was pretty good with Arizona. And I think he has a lot of those same elements. He's going to be able to do a lot of those same things with Jaden Daniels that he was able to do with Kyler Murray. They both have really good speed, decent arm. I think he could do a lot of the same things. But I haven't seen him prove it yet. You get what I mean? And to me, this is him proving it. This is why I think we got a Ben Johnson to assist him the same way that he was assisting USC last year because you got to prove it. You know what I mean? And so that's my only thing about Kingsbury. I do think that when he was with Arizona, I've watched a little bit of tape on him. They had a very, they had a decent system, and he had this. I can't think of the set now, but it's a full wide receiver set that he used quite a bit. And I don't know if he's going to bring that same set here, but I think with our four wide receivers or our three wide receivers and Senate for for tight end, I think that we can do a lot of those same things, and I seen that they were pretty successful at it. But I would like to see that setting. But I feel like in Arizona they ran it a little too frequently. But uh, yeah, that's probably my best analysis. Is I'm not sure about him yet.
Okay, okay. What you got, Vito?
Yes, I totally agree. I'm sorry. I thought I didn't know I was on mute. I totally agree. That was my biggest question mark of the off season. I just wasn't sure. I don't have a lot of tape with him in the NFL outside of his head coaching time. Um, Even though I know that he was in love with the merge of him and Kyler Murray coming from college, and I it just didn't ever translate the same way that it was on the college level and the pro level. They did have a very good 1 year together. I would like to say though, in the years that Kingsbury was the head coach for the Cardinals, Kyler Murray does not have bad numbers. He has 1 year where his numbers are really well, like really good. Probably on par with some of the best quarterbacks in the league. And then he has the rookie year, which was very decent. And then he has a couple of like okay years. Their best year happened to be with Colt McCoy coming in as a sub, and Kyler Murray had like a 9-6 or like a nine, maybe like a 7-6 record, 7-4, something like that. It wasn't a losing record, but it wasn't. It had a pretty decent amount of losses. And Colt McCoy actually came in and got 2 wins that they needed. That was an 11-5 season though. So again, Kyler was responsible for pretty much 9 wins in that year, and they did pretty well. It's just that I don't know he's a if he's the Kyle Shannon that I would like. I'm not saying that I want Kyle Shanahan, but that offense, even though it was not uh, 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 its own offense that nobody else ran, it was still something that was different that teams had to account for when they played us because of what we had. So if he can design an offense that other teams have to account for every position and makes us difficult and gives us the opportunity to have an advantage against other teams, then I'll be pleased with that. But I'm just not sure if I've seen that on the pro level. At the college level, he's done really well at designing some things for cornerbacks to take an advantage of, but I'm just not sure about it on the next level yet.
Okay, okay. What you got, Big Son, on Cliff Kingsbury?
Personally, like Vito said, he had a couple of good years with Kyler Murray. That's all I really know about Cliff Kingsbury. So from what I know, he seems to be solid. But like another point that was made on the panel tonight, he got a lot of guys that he worked with. Like Vito say, can you do that for a guy you never worked with, and can you do that so teams will have to account? So I don't really know too much about this guy, so I can't sit up here and you know just completely badger him. It's just what I know about him is what I know, and a lot of his guys that he was successful with, he worked with them. He did what he did for Pat and them, but like this is on a whole different scale. Can you do that at a pro level, at an elite level? Can you do what Kyle Shanahan did in 2012 and still have the league calling pistol plays? You know, this is what 2024. That's
Yeah,
almost 12 years later. You know what I'm saying? Can you be that innovative as a coordinator? To coordinate something that the defense has to account for and make it hard for them, make it tough. I still use the pistol till this day. Still use a pistol. Very, very high volume plays come out the pistol. So, Cliff, I just hope that your eyes come open and you see the opportunity that's at hand. I mean, this is JD5 we talking about, bro. One of the fastest human beings
yeah,
when it comes to playing football at the quarterback position, not to mention,
yeah,
you know, the boy got wheels. So you need to make sure those wheels stay on track.
yeah.
So that's what I want to see from Cliff. Honestly, the like I say, all that I heard, the only bad, that comes from that is a lot of these guys that you had, Cliff, you work with these guys. Let's see you do it with a guy you haven't worked with. That's how you know you're great. When you can do it with multiple people, and you can do it with a guy that you never worked with before. But he has that talent that you need, so it shouldn't be that hard for you. So good
I
luck to
mean,
you, Cliff.
I think
Hope you do your thing.
he's proven his ability to work with quarterbacks. Um, if you look at the caliber of quarterbacks that he has worked with, the 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 Baker Mayfields, the Patrick Mahomes, the Johnny Manziels in college. You know, when you look at those calibers of quarterbacks, you can always say that he can do it with a good quarterback. He can get some good quality out of that quarterback. My thing is, will you run the ball well enough? Will you help the receivers get the numbers that they deserve? Will you be able to identify the right running backs to get the most quality touches? You know, the quarterback position to me on his behalf is the least of my worries. I'm worried about the rest of the offense. Can the offensive line, is it going to be good enough to do what we need them to do? You know?
Definitely, definitely. Okay, so for me, um, I like Cliff Kingsbury. I might be the only one on the panel, but I like Cliff Kingsbury. I thought that his offenses and now first and foremost, what we got to realize is he was in a really tough division out there in the NFC West during that time. Like that division was really really tough. Just to be honest, that division was tough. You have San Francisco who was there. A couple of seasons, it was, you had Sean McVay came out there, midway through. And then you had Arizona, and what's the other team I'm missing out there in the West? Brain
Seattle.
freeze, huh?
Yeah.
Seattle.
Seattle.
Then you had Seattle. You had Pete Carroll and them out there. So that division was tough, and they held their own for the most part. Now they did have some seasons. I think the first season they were 5-11 or something like that, and maybe it take a season to get yourself together sometimes, but they did compete. They competed out there in that division.
I think they
And
were
so
5-11, 8-8, 11-5, and then 5-11 again.
okay, so yeah, so his first and last season, basically, is where he had the trouble. But they did compete. They did compete. And even when we played them, we had trouble with them. We had trouble with that Arizona team when Washington played them. So I think that's very concerning. That is, I mean, that's very not concerning, but that's very impressive. That's very impressive to me, to go into a juggernaut division like that and hold your own. So again, he wasn't offensive coordinator last year with USC, which before today I did think he was. So a lot of my analysts was based on what I thought he did out there. After we did some in-depth research, he wasn't calling plays. He was just a analyst out there. He was basically there to work with Caleb Williams to get him ready for the NFL. In my opinion, that was not the official position, but in my opinion, that's what he did. And so more work with Caleb Williams than anybody else. And so I'm very interested to see. I like their running game when they were out there. When he was in Arizona, I like what they did running the ball. I like what they did passing the ball. I thought Kyler Murray was very creative, though. So I do think that some of that came off of Kyler Murray. Now we see with Patrick Mahomes. Yes, he did develop Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes is a good quarterback. I'm not sure he wouldn't be good regardless of who he was with. You know what I'm saying? And I feel the same way about Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield has jumped all over the place, but he's pretty
I
much
mean,
been solid everywhere
but
he's went.
that's what I'm saying. If he's the guy, the one catalyst amongst all of these people, right? Let's not say that he isn't doing something.
No,
All of
I'm
these in the
yeah.
NFL when they've been successful. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe everybody that he's worked with hasn't been an NFL star, but he has enough stars on his resume that he has worked with to say that like it's him. He got something to do with it.
Yes, I agree. He has something to do with it, but still, them guys are good.
Yeah,
Them guys are good. You know what I'm
they,
saying?
they
So I
wouldn't even
don't
have
know
got
if it
college if they wasn't good. I mean, you know,
right. I agree. I agree. I agree. So I just want to, I'm curious. I'm curious to see the good thing about him taking the season off, right? The good thing about him taking the season off is we don't know what he's going to run,
absolutely.
you know. And so
Say
I
again?
am interested to see if he does create a specific offense for Jayden Daniels and what does he create? Because let's be clear about this for the Redskin fans who might be too young or too old, who wasn't paying attention during that time. A offense was created for RG3 when we had him, a specific offense. This is where the option play came from. It started in Washington. I know Russell Wilson and Colin Kaepernick and all. It Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Dave LaFleur, all them guys who came from Washington who's on that staff, they taught the league how to use a running quarterback. Let's be clear about that. RG3 taught the league how to use a running quarterback. That staff taught the league this is how you use a running quarterback. Period. And so I'm very interested to see what type of offense that Cliff Kingsbury comes up with. You know what I mean? That's one of the things that I'm eager to see. I am concerned about the wide receiver spot. I said that going into the draft. I'm still concerned about it. I'm still concerned about how Terry McLaurin is used in this offense. I would like to see him get upwards of 1,400 yards this year. I mean, and for some people they might say 1,200 is good for him. I would like to see him have one of those seasons to really put himself amongst the conversation of best receivers in the game. Right now, he's not in that conversation to me. Now, others might have whatever they have, but I don't have him in that conversation. There's no knock to him. I just think he needs that, and he's had some good season. Has he had the breakout season yet? Not to me. Not to me.
Well, I would say this, maybe not, but he's the consistent guy. So
He's been consistent.
if we keep his level of consistency, even if he don't have that breakout season, let's say Jahan Dotson has that breakout season, but Terry beats Terry. Still Terry still got that 1,000 yards, 75 catches, 5, 8 touchdowns. The normal Terry McLaurin. If we can get his normal production and we get somebody else to step up, I think that even if he does, of course, yeah, if he goes 14, that's great. But even if he just give us what he give us and somebody else does their job, we still look at Terry as being one of the guys.
Yeah, I agree, but not you. So you have him. Terry might be top 10. I would like to see Terry jump into the top 5 category.
I don't think he's top 5.
Well, why can't he jump into that category though?
I don't think he's
You
the
don't
top
think
5.
you think Cliff Kingsbury is able to elevate him into the top 5 conversation?
No.
Should he be able to elevate him into the top 5 conversation?
No.
I disagree.
I think you should.
I
If we
disagree.
was having conversations about Terry stepping up, and if Terry went a couple weeks ago, we had a conversation about the wide receivers, and it was about Dotson, and if Terry had this production at this point, with all these nuances and everything, Terry should be able to be coached up to be a top 5 receiver in the league now today. Not top 5 of all time, but in the league now today. He should be coached up. He should have a 100-yard catch this season.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with his numbers should be get a little better, but when we talking top 5, right? We talking,
Yeah, but you
you
number
know,
one receiver, so 70 catches ain't gonna work.
It ain't gonna work.
You need
but
100, brother.
we don't need 100 if everybody else doing their job.
Why not? When you got
because
other number ones getting one what CD Lamb played mostly slot, but what did he have?
no,
100.
CD Lamb is all over the field. He had 136, but the next catcher is in the 70s, 60s, or 70s.
Okay,
And,
he was
and
I
then
number
would
one though, right?
I side with Big Son on this. I just think Terry McLaurin has been in the league long enough now where he should separate himself.
I'm
AV,
tr- I've
who's
tried to tell y'all, bro. If he's a really, really great, or if he would be a great or a Hall of Fame number 2, and he's at the lower end of number ones, number 10 wide receiver in the league is a really good spot. Yeah, I do know it's 32 teams in the league. He's not in the top 5 conversation, guys. He's only got last 4
No,
years, 1,000 yards.
we not saying he is. We saying could he be coached this year to be that, and not say he could be coached to be that. He had 87 catches or
He's gonna
whatever.
so just real quick, y'all see him getting 1,700 plus yards, because that's what we're talking about. Top 5 guys. We're talking about behind Jefferson. We're talking about CD Lamb. We're talking about Tyreek Hill. Like we're talking about Jamar Chase's. Like are we thinking straight?
AJ
Like,
Brown did it last year. AJ
that's
Brown did
not Terry McLaurin, guys.
it. I was just saying we need that from him.
He
No,
could
we
be
don't
though,
need. He's not that. He's not that person. That's not him.
but could he be though?
That's the
He
question.
could be.
I think he
That's the
could.
question
No,
that
I don't
we're
think he got it in.
posing. Could he be that?
Okay.
Do we really need him to be though?
Yes.
Why? Because if all right,
Because
so
they're scared that this wide receiver group can't do it. That's
That's
why.
why. Exactly. You hit it right on the head, Vito.
I don't think, but I
I
think you
mean,
guys.
for
I
me,
think
I'm
you
not
guys
scared
are.
that
If
they.
you guys think that Jaden is special or has a better arm, or at least a very much competitive arm as RG3 did, you gotta imagine that these wide receivers are going to be so much more available to have opportunities to make plays than they have been over the last close to 10 years, guys. Like we haven't had a quarterback threaten the defense in a long time.
yeah, I can agree
Ah,
with
but
that.
but the McLaurin argument has been what? He hasn't had the quarterback.
I'm not sure if that's the argument that I would have with him. If you made yourself a 1,000-yard receiver with Heineke, then you have the Devontae Adams factor going on. This means that you're the guy and you should be able to make a play on your own. I'm saying to me, and maybe somebody can show me some film that's different. Antonio Brown, yes, he's a lunchbox, but he forever and famously got double teamed in Pittsburgh, and they found a way to get him open. What Scott Turner and the enemy did not do was run a lot of drag combinations in
I
situations
agree.
where Terry was the main receiver. Terry would do the intermediate routes, and you're running him into the double team instead of giving him an opportunity to get open early and make plays early. So some of that is play calling. That's why I said I'm very interested to see what and that's why Kingsbury scares me the most out of everybody. Not scares me, but concerns me most with everybody on staff because I'm just not sure what he's going to run. But here's the good thing, real quick, before I get off. If you go look at his numbers in Arizona, Cliff Kingsbury was crazy with Hopkins and Larry Fitzgerald and Christian Kirk. Those guys' numbers were all good while he was a coordinator. I mean, while he was the coach out there, Joe. So, and DeAndre Hopkins had 1,400 yards his first season with the
Exactly.
Cardinals.
Exactly.
DeAndre
And
Hopkins is a different wide receiver than McLaurin.
I agree. So, but why shouldn't we expect that out of McLaurin is the question.
What we have to expect is the offensive calls out of Kingsbury. We have
Right.
to find out who Daniel's favorite target is because the most the most worrisome thing to me about the quarterbacking spot is that everybody has different targets that they really really love and that they really like going to. I personally think that my favorite pick of the draft, like I told you, besides Daniels, is Sanat. If Sanat gets on the ball before this season is out, I'm not saying he's a bigger target than Terry, but I will say that over the last few years, we have watched the quarterback tight end combination get real special. And Terry, if he cannot get to that 1,400 yard mark this year, and if he does not have a high thousand, which means like maybe a 12 or better this year, I wouldn't be so sure that he's the lasting wide receiver. Like maybe he stays because of the longevity with us. I mean, with the team and staying. Maybe that's important to Quinn and the staff. Excuse me, my bad, guys. And I'd like that to be something that's important to them, but they're gonna have to find him another target at wideout if he doesn't get those numbers that you're talking about this year, in my opinion. And I don't think that this because the other guys have bad years. If Dotson does well and Terry has a year that he had last year, just has 1,000 yards, and Dotson has 800 or 1,000 yards himself, and McCaffrey has 600 or 700 yards and does well, and the team does well as a team, I still think that they go out and find a guy that could get you 1,500 yards. I think those are numbers that you look for from your number one receiver in today's game.
Right. Exactly. In a pass heavy team, he should be getting that. I'm going to go jump on the limb and say that.
But what if we're not a pass heavy team? What if we are a run heavy team,
Yeah, I
especially
think he
with
still
Jaden
should get it.
Daniels?
I think he still should get it.
Then your number one target has to
Well,
get a lot of reps. Your number one target is going to get a lot of passes if like Zay Flowers, Tyreek Hill for that matter, because they ran the ball a lot more than people thought down there in Miami this year. Um Denver, I mean not Denver, because I think Patrick got a lot of targets this year, and that was their slot guy. It might like the Mike Evans, like God has been on the other side of him for years, or was on the other side of him for years,
Right.
and didn't always get the amount of targets that Mike Evans got. Like your number one guy he has to be the reason that he's the number one. You know what I'm saying? Something that separates him from the next receiver.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that even if he is the number one, right? And everybody's getting the production we should. Say Jaden Daniels is sharing the ball like he should, in my opinion. Um, do you really need him to get 15? Now, I think he should get over 12 this year.
Do you do you see?
I
This
think
is
this
how
should
I
be his
look at.
best year.
Okay, go ahead. Mhm.
Yeah, I think this should be his best year, but I don't think that he has to go 15. I don't think you gotta have like a phenomenal 1,800 yard year or anything, especially if
So
Jahan Dotson steps up.
do you pay McLaurin what McLaurin's getting paid for
Right.
being an average receiver?
No. I agree with you on that. Yeah, I don't think you should be an average receiver, but I think that
Just
consistency
a just 1,000 yards with an extra game added is an average receiver. Tyreek Hill was at 1,000 yards at game
Right.
9.
Right.
he exactly, but he was the number one target. Waddle, look at what Waddle.
McLaurin is the number one target, buddy.
Hear me out. But if you look at what Waddle was doing, Waddle didn't have a great year. So what I'm saying is different. It's like if everybody's having a good year, he doesn't have to have a phenomenal year.
Waddle's year, not last year, but the year before was really good, and
Yeah,
Tyreek Hill still had 1,700 yards, bro.
yeah, I get that. But I'm talking about last year, the most recent year.
Well, they
It,
also ran the ball more, and they also had
there we
other wide receiver help, so it spread out a
Exactly.
little bit more.
That's exactly what I'm alluding to.
Yeah,
That I would love for him to have that year, that breakout year. But
I'm
if
saying that
Terry
if Tyreek Hill has 1,000 yards in those 2 seasons, and everybody else has good yardage, and our offense is doing good, Tyreek Hill is going to get let go from the Miami Dolphins because we cannot pay you 20
Right.
million a year to be 1,000 yard guy. I
Right.
don't care what the production of the other guys are. What separates you from them? Because I can start putting them in the same spot as you and save me some money.
Yeah.
I can
That's what
agree.
I'm saying. Like McLaurin's contract is a heavy part of our offense. If I'm not mistaken, he may be the highest paid person on our offense right now.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do I expect him to do 15? No. Like a 12 or 13 this year?
So
Yeah, at least
what I'm
that and
right.
100 catches.
No, that doesn't say anything over 1,200 yards is fine. So if he doesn't have that, we have to look at the fact that this team may be looking at picking up someone else for help for him, because again, I'm looking at now making when I come to you about contract talks, we now have to go into you're in the later stages of your career, and are we demoting you, or are we letting you go to someone so that you can get your money? We're not trying to let you go, but we also don't want to block you from making your money. That's the respect that I think Terry is going to get from our organization, even with this being a new coaching staff, and with Josh Harris being a new front office guy for McLaurin. Your checks are being signed by somebody different. But this is the thing. Yeah, that's that movie. This is the thing. So when Terry comes in there, the Bob Marley movie. No, I know. I cut it off. Oh, so this is the. He just went through a military checkpoint. Yeah, it's in Jamaica. This is the thing. When you bring McLaurin to the office and you say, "Hey, guy, you know what I'm saying? We had this great year this season. The team did well. We made it to the playoffs. You were a big part of that, but you only got 1093 or 1,100 yards, and we believe your production can be much better. We're going to get you some help in here coming up in the next few seasons, but the only way that we can do that is that we're going to have to figure out how to rework this contract in order to bring back some of those guys on defense. Some of those 1 year guys are going to now need contracts. And we got to remember that. And I know we got 70 million, but once 7 of the 10 or 11 guys need contracts that are not 1 year deals, we got to figure out how much those guys are going to earn via what they do this season. So with our wide receiver spot, we got to figure out if Terry is going to have the type of year that's a 1,000 year, or is it a 12 to 1,500 type of year where we can say he's much different or that much different than the next receiver up. If Dotson gets an 800-yard year and McCaffrey gets a 700-yard year and our tight end gets a 600 or 700-yard year and McLaurin only gets 1,000 yards, you tell me why he's getting $20 million a year. I can put Dotson right there. I get 1 more year of saving the money, and I can go get a rookie who may be able to be a number one, who may not be Terry at all, but he could be a option that I could get that's going to save me money. We also got to remember that we battling with an owner who just spent almost $7 billion on the team. So I'm saying that Kingsbury also has to take into account that McLaurin has to reach these numbers for the contract to make sense.
Yeah.
Because if not, we got to realize that, hey, just like we lost Sweat and Young, and I'm a McLaurin fan, I am not going to change that. I am not going to shy away from me being a fan of him. I'm saying that production wise and the idea, just the idea that it was hard for him to beat double teams when we really needed him. Not because the calls were bad. We really just like needed him to beat some of those double teams because of how bad other people weren't getting open. You got to show me why you're worth the money. Now, I think with a quarterback, he should get far past the numbers that he's ever seen.
Yeah,
And unlike what everybody else may seem with Jaden Daniels, I believe that the double team on McLaurin is now over. I don't
yeah,
think that you can do that and keep an eye on Jaden Daniels at the same time. And
yeah,
that's what will allow McLaurin to show his separation from him and Dotson or any other of the number two receivers that was on the squad. Now,
yeah,
if that happens, then yes, everything that we were talking about, and I'd have to change my he's a bona fide number two to okay, there's the number one receiver. But right
yeah,
now, it just seems that he needs either some help or he's got to show up a little bit more to me on tape.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Again,
mean,
for me,
and
it's
Terry,
been
I will say this in the last defense of Terry. In my opinion, he's showing up in a lot of those games that was on the line. We needed a catch. He caught it. A lot of those times when they put the ball to those other receivers, they either didn't catch it, i.e., Jahan Dotson this year a couple times, or they didn't get the first down, or they didn't get the play that we needed. And Terry, throughout his career, has been consistent in the clutch. And that's not something that you could
that.
just replace.
I think the only way that you don't get Terry, that if Terry doesn't have to have those type of numbers, but you sort of give him the money or keep them the money or his money is sins. I'm pretty sure Terry McLaurin and just to let everybody know, Terry McLaurin just Magic Johnson took Terry McLaurin to dinner like 2 or 3 days ago. Magic Johnson posted it on his page that he took Terry McLaurin to dinner. So Magic is in his ear. Trust. That's why he took Terry McLaurin to dinner because he Magic got in his ear a little bit and say, "Hey, you the man. So you gotta. I need something more." I would hope he did it. I would
I can
have,
agree with that. I can,
you know. And
I
so,
can see Magic Johnson doing that.
yeah. And so I think that now that we've arrived to this point with Terry McLaurin, I think the only way that you keep him or he wants his money to increase is we need playoff performances. Maybe he does get the 1,000 yards that y'all talking about, or maybe 1,100 yards. It's all right, same old, same old. But then he would have to show up in the playoffs.
Yeah,
He would have to show up in the playoffs, you know. So that in a scenario like that, I can accept that. I can accept that in a scenario like that where we get Super Terry in the playoffs, but he only gets the 1,100 yards or 1,000 yards during the regular season. I can live with that. I can live with that. I think that's a valuable option for Terry. You know what I mean? I think that's a valuable option for Terry.
I can live with that too because I mean, 1,100 yards, you turn the Super Terry in the playoffs. That mean you kept the pace for the race. You ran so that you can run. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You didn't outrun the race. You ran so that you keep your pace. So I could live with that. But
Yeah.
like I say, I need honestly. But if we really being honest, how many? If he gets 80, if he gets 85, to me, he had a good season. To be honest, I'm gonna tell you why. Jaden Daniels is going to run a lot. So it's not going to be a lot of games where we have monster passing yards. You know what I'm saying? Jaden Daniels going to run and we're going to have running backs that's going to run. So we're not going to have a lot of those games that, you might have about, I'll give him about a good 5 games this season where he pass heavy. But when you go back to our season with RG3, RG3 had some passing games, but we had a running game and we had him running. So it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't overly overted in the past year. I think he had like 3,600 yards passing.
32, I
Some
believe.
yeah,
But he
something
had
like that.
eight
30.
or he had eight or almost 900 yards rushing. I think he had
Yeah,
broke
yeah, eight.
rookie record for
Yep.
rushing.
That's what I'm about to say. He had like 800, eight
And
or
I
nine
was gonna say
yards
that too.
rushing.
That
Yeah.
if you think about even if Kingsbury goes back and looks at film that RG3 ran, if y'all look at that offensive makeup, Brian Johnson to me, I mean Brian Robinson Jr. to me can play the Alfred Morris role. I don't see where he would be ineffective in that role. I think he would have a great season in that role because he runs very similar. He
Yeah.
has enough speed to finish runs. He's not a punk. He runs very hard. And Alfred Morris he was shifty in his own regard, but he knew how to read the blocks. And I
Yeah,
feel like if our
yeah.
offensive line, this is also why, like I said, I gave our grade on our team a A. I didn't give it any pluses or minus. I didn't give out any platinum grades, even though I think the picks were very, very good. My concerns would be the same as Ro had, that when you're building a championship team. So this to me is the recalibration. Like I said, I'm taking the words, and you know, I'm literal as I don't know what. Y'all know I am one of the most literal people. I will take it something super far because of the words that are used. And I'm just going with what they supposed to mean. Recalibration means that we don't have to change the entire roster, but there's some things that we need to do to put this team in position. All right,
Mhm.
cool. When you're contending and you're going for that championship run, you make sure your trenches are straight. They picked up a defensive tackle, which is the strong point of your head coach. So you guys have coached with me before, Big Son. You didn't, but you know the attitude of the guy. So you was there without being there. It is all about the head coach's mentality. The kids take up that. So I feel like with Dan Quinn having the seriousness that he has, like I know that he wants to have fun and everything, but the way that he motivates guys, each and every team that he's been a part of, I feel like these guys have not had that since they've been in the league. There's nobody on our team left from the Jay Gruden era except for I believe Tressway and Terry McLaurin. Anybody else, y'all can let me know. But if I'm not mistaken, that maybe Jonathan Allen. But I don't think so. No, maybe Jonathan
Yeah,
Allen. So you got
Jonathan Allen
Yeah,
was
I was
here
about to
too.
Jonathan
say
Allen,
Jonathan
Terry
Allen.
McLaurin, and Tressway are
And Deron
from
Payne, I believe, 1 year.
Duran. Okay, Duran. Yeah, yes. Duran's last year. So you got those four guys that are from one of the most tumultuous times dealing with a
Right.
head coach ever. Like, yes, the staff was
Yeah,
beautiful, but the head coach was absolutely horrible.
yeah.
And to go through that, and like I said, as frustrating as I remember, we used to talk again. We've had this show for a long time, fans. We've been here since when Rakpo was here, and I watched Rakpo in college. I came up with him in college, and how good he was, and how good the teams that he played on was, and to lose continuously when you go through your whole life as a winner. Terry McLaurin, for those that do not know, has never lost a game in the state of Indianapolis. As a high school player, he went undefeated every single season, won the championship every year. He's not lost a game there. That's why that game in Indianapolis when we played the Colts, if anybody listened to us, we called the money on that game and let y'all know that Terry was getting ready to get busy. He was quiet in the first half and woke up and did his business and does what he does in Indianapolis and wins. So the guy is big time, but you have to put these guys in position and give them a strong chance to do that. And I think that the offensive line, if it does not work this season, that will be the one thing that I think will hold those guys back. Other than that, I see very good promise and praise for what I think we're about to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. So let's jump to the defensive side of the ball. Joe Witt. Joe Witt. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna run through Joe Witt's tenure and what he got going on, how he got to where he is right now. We all know it was through Dan Quinn, or not where he is, but we all know that he coached with Dan Quinn. He came over. So let's get to Joe Witt. Joe Witt was Dallas Cowboys passing game coordinator on the defensive and secondary passing game coordinator for the past 3 seasons from 2021 to 2023. Since Joe Wick took over that secondary, that unit led the league with 59 interceptions in 3 years. That's crazy. Last season, Dallas passing defense ranked fifth in the NFL, allowing only 187 yards a game. They had 17 interceptions, tied for eighth most in the NFL. Cornerback Deron Bland, he set a single season record for most interceptions returned for a touchdown with 5. He also was a Pro Bowler last year as well. Joe Witt also worked for Trayvon Diggs for worked with Trayvon Diggs for who had 14 pass defenses, 3 interceptions last year. And then ranked eighth also, even though he was hurt, that still ranked eighth in the league. And he worked with Devon Hooker who had 5 sacks and led all defensive backs in and was in the NFL with 5 sacks, and has the most by a Cowboy defensive back since 1984. You know what I mean? Joe Witt also worked with going back. Joe Witt also hit in 2021. Dallas finished top 10 for opponent completion percentage with 59 and 26 interceptions. First, Trayvon Diggs in 2021 led the league with 11 interceptions and that was tied for a franchise record while earning his first Pro Bowl honors. And he was also Trayvon Diggs was a first team All Pro voted by the Associated Press under Joe Witt. So those are impressive numbers, guys. Those are impressive numbers. I mean, out of that secondary with Joe Witt. Joe Witt also worked in Atlanta. He worked in Atlanta as their passing game coordinator in 2020. So he was over there. He's been with Quinn for quite some time. So Joe Witt is definitely legit. And and just to go further with Joe Witt also worked with he also worked with Charles Woodson when he was in Green Bay. This season with Charles Woodson had 9 interceptions, 4 forced fumbles, 18 pass deflections, and 3 defensive touchdowns. So defensive touchdowns and Joe Witt has been a thing, basically.
Didn't they go to the Super Bowl that year?
They won the Super Bowl that year. Yep. They won the Super Bowl that year. Yep. Joe Witt was their defensive passing game coordinator that year too, their secondary coach as well. So Joe Witt is legit, man, from what I'm saying. And he's earned his job as a defensive coordinator. This is his first defensive coordinator job to date. So Joe Witt is legit.
Yeah, he is. I'm gonna start it off, man. Like the first interview I seen with Joe, to be honest, Joe reminded me of my high school football coach. Like very serious about business when he's talking about his defense gonna get to the quarterback and we're gonna get him, we're gonna sack him, and we're gonna intercept the ball and we're gonna be all over the hill. Like that's the type of attitude like that I got from him. He gave me like so I went to military school like my last 2 years of high school. And we went to we went to Fort AP Hill for boot camp for a couple weeks. And we had a sergeant. I was in Charlie. I think I was in Charlie Company. I believe, yeah, Charlie Company. And we had a sergeant by the name of Sergeant Hatcher. And like Hatcher gave me that killer, like I get that read from Joe that I got from Hatcher when I first stepped my boots on on 4AP Hill turf. He let me know, look, I'm here to work you, and I ain't here to do nothing else. High speed, beat your face, and let's get to work. That's the type of attitude I felt from Joe, like very militant and very serious about what he's talking about. And so with this marriage of getting the ball and scoring touchdowns with that ball, I like that very much. And when he was talking about, oh, we're very serious about getting the ball. We're very serious about shutting your offense down. Like those words ain't just talking. So I like what I hear from Joe. I like what I see from Joe. I like his resume and I like the pedigree. So hey Joe, you got my vote, baby. Unlike the guy in the White House. And we move on.
That's what's up. That's what's up. What you got on Joe Witt?
I'm high, very, very, very high on Joe Witt. I'm with Big Son. I had a coach when I was in high school, Daryl Tillman. Shout out to all of the Rough Riders out there. Mr.
Oh
Tillman,
yes, definitely. Big shout out to Tillman. Yes, sir. Big shout out to Tillman. Yes, sir.
wasn't the
Before I left
greatest.
Roosevelt, I played for him. Big shout out to Tillman.
Yeah, man, he wasn't the greatest offensive coach, but he wasn't bad. No diss to him at all on the offensive side. But he was very consistent on what he expected from us defensively, and turnovers are something that changes games. I
Yeah.
don't care if you're last in the NFL in yards given up. I care if you're last in points given up because that always means that you're usually losing. But
Yeah.
yards, I'm not more concerned about when the defense is put at a disadvantage today in the way that the game is called. But what turns the game around is turnovers. And yes, Big Son, I was completely with you when I heard him talk. When he was talking, I'm not even gonna lie to you. My very first experience with Joe Witt talking when he became a commander was absolutely thrilled, and I thought it was even more. I think it was actually more forward than what Dan Quinn was presenting. I think Dan Quinn took the professional route, and I don't think that there was anything wrong with that. But I think Joe Witt brought the attitude. I think he brought that right away. I think he talked very highly the way he did to players like Jonathan Allen, who I think he also made sure that because there were talks about Jonathan Allen wanting to request a trade. I think after Joe Witt put that post up, I mean, put that interview up with him with the Commanders on Commanders Nation, I think that it went all through the roof, and I think it changed the entire dynamic of where our defense was going to get ready to head going forward. I'm very excited. I told everybody I'm high on Forbes as far as his ability to create turnovers, and this will give me the opportunity to see what Forbes was really picked for. Now, because he was picked with the last regime, he's going to have to work. And I don't mind that. I do think that with Sandstrill signed and him being as a slot corner, it doesn't threaten the ability for Forbes to have an opportunity. But the two lengthy cornerbacks that we signed during the offseason, I believe, will. So if Forbes can get some turnovers during the offseason and come in and work during those mini camps and stuff like that, which will happen next week, I believe he has an opportunity to get on the field. And if you throw that ball early, if we go back and look at the film from week 2 when he got his pick, if you throw the ball early, that kid can jump some routes. I think he was put in situations that were really bad for him one-on-one last year, and you have to have a safety over the top when AJ Brown is at receiver. I'm sorry, that's just the way that I would call defense. And again, when I say that you have a situation where you can't put safeties over the top because you got a Russian quarterback. Well, that's what the Eagles have with Jalen Hurts. So if we can also create similar situations like that and still have the ability to play solid defense with our front seven so that you can keep a safety back there, we can now give ourselves a better chance on creating some of those turnovers or at least stopping guys on third down.
I totally agree. I totally agree. Point, what you got on Joe Witt? Yo, did you already go?
No, I ain't go yet. I personally think that this might be my Dan Quinn would be my favorite coach on the staff right now of the new hires. But Joe Witt would be my 1B. I think him and Quinn together have just shown us a phenomenal defensive prowess, a phenomenal defensive game plans. We've seen great defense from these two guys, and just Joe Witt himself. I only added Dan Quinn so I could start it. Joe Witt himself is proven with and without Dan Quinn.
That's
You
true.
know what I mean? And
True.
so to me, I think that Joe Witt, because he fits with Dan Quinn, he knows what Dan Quinn wants to run. He understands Dan Quinn. That they have a very good working relationship, or so it seems, at least. You know what I mean? I don't think he would have. I don't think he would have hired them if they didn't. But you never really know, right? So, I think personally, this is going to be the defense could have been better last year, but I feel like the offense was just a little bit worse, right? And I feel like the defense now goes back to being the strongest side of the ball that we have. And I think that they're going to be able to show that. I like the fact that he creates turnovers, and not only turnovers, he creates turnovers into touchdowns. Um, Stephon Diggs had a couple. Trayvon Diggs had a couple interceptions to go back. Devon Bland had it, like you said. Charles Woodson. Um, I just love the fact that these guys have the rapport that they have together. I've seen interviews, and now that I've watched film with these two guys working together, I think that it is a perfect marriage, and I'm happy that we got him instead of them promoting him in Dallas.
Mm, mm. Great point. Great point. I'm big on Witt, man. Again, we read off what he got going on, man. Witt is legit.
One more thing.
I mean, I guess that's the that's the saying, right? You know what I'm saying? Witt is legit. So Charles Woodson, we know what Charles Woodson what he did, you know what I'm saying, and how he moved when he was here. You know, we know what Charles Woodson, you know, what type of player he was. And what that secondary looked like when Green Bay won the Super Bowl that year. Massive, massive. And then Trayvon Diggs to have 11 interceptions, and then to come back with Bland, who was a no-name. Let's be clear. Who ever heard? Who even now? How many people know who Bland is?
I did, and I gotta say this on air. Um, I don't remember which Cowboy fan I was talking shit to, but I was talking big shit about Deron Bland when Trayvon Diggs got hurt. Oh man, he's gonna be a bum. He's gonna be this. He's gonna be that. And I had to eat all of those words after he ran back the most interceptions in NFL history. So this is, you would never hear me say this again. But guess what? I had to eat them words when it came to a Cowboy. And it was Deron Bland. You know what I mean? I've always been high on Trayvon Diggs. He's from this area, and as well as him being from this area, roll tide.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so to repeat that over and over again, you got some. Now, I will say I'm interested to see what he does with that front seven. Because that has been the strength of our team. And you know, and again, Dan Quinn, for instance, has done really well with secondaries as well. Because we got to remember he had Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor. He had Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman had 12 interceptions one year with the Legion of Boom. So, you know, historically, Dan Quinn himself has done well with the secondaries. It's the front seven. It's the front seven that I really want to see come alive or see what they could do with that front seven, because I'm not sure they've ever had, at least tackle wise. I think this is the best tackle combination that either of them guys have ever had. And I know that in Green Bay they had Brown. I forgot his last name. They had Big Brown, but still, they didn't have two Browns, and so he got two Browns here. You know, with what we have here in Washington. So I hope
Three
that,
maybe,
huh?
three maybe.
Yeah, three maybe. Yup. Three with Newsom. Yeah, absolutely. So I think this is the best tackle combination that they've ever had. They got their ace. They got Bobby Wagner in the middle of there, in the middle there. So I think this is a great combination for Witt. This defense could be really good. This, if they can get pressure though. You're going to have to be able to get pressure from the edges. Witt has never been a coordinator, like we said before. I'm concerned about his play calling a little bit. I just want to know how is he going to approach this. He do have Dan Quinn as his ace though, and Dan Quinn is a really good play caller on defense. And most of the times, especially against, like I said, the teams that aren't really the greatest, he does really well against. Now the teams that are good, like the San Francisco's of the world, Dan Quinn struggled against them. Dallas Cowboys lost to San Francisco, I think 3 years in a row while Dan Quinn was there. They haven't beat him at all with Quinn under him. And Joe Witt struggled. That secondary struggled against those San Francisco teams. So that's a little bit of a concern of mine. That's a little bit of a concern of mine. You know, Forbes, I think Forbes is in good hands, though. I think Forbes is in really good hands. You know, Forbes reminds you of Diggs. He got a similar size, similar frame, really. So, you know, he reminds you a little bit of a Diggs. So I think that can work out for him. I think our secondary is really good, even underrated for the Redskin fans out there listening. I do believe our secondary is underrated. Because you know, you got Derek Forrest, who I believe people forgot about him because he was hurt last year, and because we went through the wild season that we went through, a lot of people forgot about Derek Forrest. But we still got Derek Forrest. You know what I mean? We still got Derek Forrest. So he's going to be massive. You still got Martin. You know, the Martin from last year, he's going to be massive. You know what I mean? For that secondary. Trust me. I'm saying, that's why I'm saying it now.
I got to say something nice about Ron Rivera now. Unfortunately,
Okay.
he drafted really well on the defensive side of the ball.
I can say that.
He drafted really well on the defensive side of the ball. Even when you look at like a Cameron Curl, right? He didn't necessarily stay on the team with us, but we all can agree that Cameron Curl was a good player. You know what I mean?
What else did he draft well? I about to say I'm in the ear on that one.
I said on the defensive side of the ball, first and foremost.
No, that's what I said. Tell me what
Derek
players.
Forrest. Derek Forrest is a good draft pick.
Yeah.
Derek Forrest might not start this year.
I disagree. I
I'm
disagree.
with the
Is
picking
he
of another safety in the
is he a good player? Yes or no?
yes. I won't say he's not.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that's a good draft pick. If you picking a player that is trash and
No,
turns out
no,
to be
no,
trash,
no. I was about to say
then
let's go down the list of defensive players that he picked though.
Ron reverse picks. Let me you want me to pull out
Yes.
and see what I can pull out.
do you think Khalid Hudson? Because I believe he was another Ron Rivera pick.
I
I think
I
he's a
don't
decent player.
I, ah
Ah,
I'm not gonna I'm gonna say that he had flashes.
Yeah.
I'll say he had
Okay.
flashes.
Yeah.
I'll
So
I'll say
do you feel like
he was
do you
who he
feel
was
like
because it was our team.
do you feel like he's a bum?
Khalid Hudson,
Yeah.
with Jamin Davis being so bad, I'm not gonna hold you. Let me just make the reach, and maybe I'll give the unpopular opinion. Yes, because Jamin Davis was so bad, Khalid should have threatened to start at some point in
I
time.
don't think Jamin was bad though.
I
I
I
don't
don't
think,
either.
think
I
Jamin was
think, I
bad.
think Jam. Okay. So
Two
if you,
two
we
years
don't,
ago, Jamin was bad.
I
we
don't
don't
even
have to
I
say
think.
mean,
that.
not 2 years, last year.
We
The
don't
year,
have to think Jamin was bad, but when the head coach believes that you're the problem, something is going on with the system that he's not having his success the way that the coach would like to. The coach said this, not the fans, not
I
the
remember he
people, not
said
other.
that. I
The coach,
remember he said that.
and this was not the first season that he said. He said it on more than one season. So, in my opinion, if Khalid Hudson was that good of a draft pick, I'm just saying that at some point in time, with the linebackers rotating out the way that they did, especially in the middle, I feel like Khalid could have threatened to take that starting spot from Jamin or be subbed in more because they were rotating in subs a little bit more, and I feel like he could have got more playing time if he was if he was rounding out the way that I would believe so. I mean, as I think that he could have.
Quan Martin was a good pick.
Quan Martin was a beautiful pick. That's a beautiful pick. That honestly may have been a better pick than Cameron Curl, even though I am a Cameron Curl fan. Because I think the analysts right now believe that Quan Martin has a guaranteed spot on our defense because he's the most versatile defensive back we have. That is what the PFF has for him right now. That he's our most versatile back.
Yeah. But see
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I feel like
KJ Henry. He drafted KJ Henry in the 5th round. This was last
Above
year.
KJ's above
He
no
KJ
had
Jones Jr.
I
hold
don't
up.
think KJ
We talking about a
I
rookie
just
that didn't get a lot of playing time. We gotta really wait till this year to see if he's gonna pan out or not. So I can't call him a good one, but I can't call him a bum either.
I ain't gonna call him a man.
He
I
didn't
mean
get a
he
lot of
looked
Call him a
good
bum.
last year when
I ain't
they
call him a
actually
bum.
gave him some playing time after our guys left.
That's
yeah.
fair.
Now RJ Jones, I'm not too sure about him, but I know
Right.
KJ ain't no dog,
I think RJ
but
Jones
he
is an
ain't.
undrafted free agent.
No, we drafted him. He was our Mr. Irrelevant.
Irrelevant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think KJ is good. We just don't know how good he is because we haven't seen a lot of him.
Yeah, I don't think we have a big enough sample size of him to actually call him good or bad. My opinion.
Yeah. 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 So I
Very
mean,
small sample size.
yeah. Yeah. So I'm about to put I mean, but Emmanuel Forbes, that was the first one. What do y'all think about that?
I don't think he worked out, but I don't really necessarily believe it was his fault. I think the
Was that a good pick
I
at
don't
number
think we can
one?
say whether he worked
I
out yet.
yeah, I
He
don't
Yeah.
about to
I'm talking
be.
about for last year. I said
Well,
I'm not
yeah,
saying that he's gonna be
yeah.
good
Last
now.
year he did get torched up pretty good.
Yeah, he got
So
coached up pretty good.
In reference to last year, yes, he got it was a
Yeah,
bad pick. If
yeah,
we're just talking about last year, he
yeah,
has another year to reprove himself.
yeah,
Again, we all
exactly.
feel like that was a tanking season at certain
Yeah,
points. But before the tank, let's say before the tank,
he was okay.
he was still having some hard ups and downs in the second half of the non-tank
yeah,
season.
Yeah. I mean, early in the tenth season, I would say that he looked like he was going to pan out early in the season, and then he had a rough patch after that Broncos game, and I think it took him a while to recover from that. You
And
know
I
what I
believe it was a mixture of the positions that they were putting him in. You
Yeah,
know,
we not
I think it was
necessarily
a
blaming
mixture.
for. That's what I'm saying. We're not necessarily blaming Forbes. So like KJ Henry is the same thing. He showed some good stuff on film. He also showed that maybe this he wasn't as good as we thought he was. So like I feel like his sample size was small. I feel like Forbes' sample size was big, was good, but it wasn't necessarily in the right situation. Like
Mhm.
you've been saying, we did not have no safety help over him last year. And for a rookie to not have any help, that is hard. I don't care where you're drafted at.
So you think it was more schemes than where he was drafted at?
Yeah, I think the
Yeah,
scheme didn't
I
necessarily
do.
fit him as well.
Okay, so what about Fideldrian Mathis and this the 2022 draft? Number 2.
Like
Well,
I say about
That pick
Federian,
sucks. That pick
we
sucks.
yeah, at this point,
we
yes.
haven't seen enough out of Federian to even know what he's worth.
Well,
You know what I'm
that's
To
the
me,
saying?
that
problem.
to me
That's the
that pick
problem.
sucks.
If we draft somebody years ago, Mathis this is his second, third year, like,
Yes,
and he
he
hasn't been on the field, like that's
he
not a good
sucks.
pick.
He
That's
sucks.
not a good pick.
I'm only saying he sucks because I didn't that pick, unlike this one this year when we picked the defensive tackle, I didn't understand the pick for Mathis that year. That was after
Yeah,
Deron Payne and Allen's best season. You picked up a defensive tackle.
yeah, I can agree with that. I'm with V on that. That was not a good pick.
Percy Butler.
I like
I
Percy.
didn't.
No,
I
Percy
like
ain't panning out to me.
I like Percy. What
Percy
round
is
was
one of them guys. He's fast, he's tracking, but when it's come time to tackle, no go,
what round was Percy
no go.
drafted in?
Percy Butler was drafted in the
Like the fifth, I
fourth,
believe.
fourth,
Oh,
fourth,
fourth? Oh
fourth.
yeah, no, no.
Yeah, I'm not.
Mm-mm.
I would say right now, nah. But I feel like Percy's okay. I really think Percy's a decent pick.
I don't think, and so I'm gonna chime in on Percy. I don't think we've seen the best of Percy yet. I don't
No,
think we've seen the
I agree
best of
with you.
Percy yet. I think he's
I agree.
highly athletic. I think Joe Witt, I think he might end up being one of the better players for Joe Witt because of the way he plays, as fast as he plays. I
I'm
believe
about to
Joe
say the
Witt,
speed, but he got
yeah,
to get that tackling together, man.
but
Yeah,
I
He
believe
can't be. You can't
I
be
believe
no
his,
free safety and can't tackle, bro.
I agree.
that's
I
true,
agree.
but I believe his issues are fixable.
They are. They
You
are.
know, I don't see nothing to where I don't see him being scared. I wish he can catch the ball a little
Yeah,
bit.
with the coach that we got, Percy Butler should be better, but he's one of the guys with Martin's addition and with Hampton's addition that is threatening to possibly not be on the team.
Yeah, yeah, I can
Right,
agree with.
right, right.
I can see him potentially getting moved to the practice squad potentially. I don't know if anybody's going to go snatch him up out of that out of the practice squad. Not saying that he will be. I think he can make the team, but like V said, he's on the cusp.
Christian Holmes was the 7th round pick, Mr. Irrelevant in the 2023 two draft.
He didn't.
Um,
He
for a
didn't get.
seventh round, he was decent to me.
He didn't get. But he didn't get a lot of PT
He
either.
didn't get
So
a lot of
He's
PT,
a
but he was
bum.
decent.
That's the one I'm gonna say is a bum.
So we just do half the cup size.
I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, I think he was a bum. He got tore up a couple times, but he was a 7th round pick. I think he played way too much to be a 7th round pick, though. And I'm not saying it like that. Like I'm just not. I just didn't see why he ended up on the field other than injuries, or to me, which it wasn't injuries, it was bad roster management. Is
Yeah.
why he ended up on playing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all traded for William Jackson and then cut him in the middle of the season or trade him or whatever you did with him. So I think just situations like that is why he ended up playing way more than he probably should have played, just my opinion with that, so I'm not the Christian Holmes fan. To the 2021 draft, you got Jamin Davis, 1st round pick, number 19.
Um. He's
I
been
like Davis.
starting.
I'm gonna say I
I think
like
he's
that
okay.
one.
I
I like
like
that.
them. I think he panned out.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do too. I do too.
I,
Jamin is still on your roster.
yeah.
Jamin's panned out so far. He
Yeah.
hasn't out of all of the linebackers that we've gone through, he's actually remained. The
Yeah.
Mayos, the Bartons, all of them guys, even though they at middle, those guys have got moved and his position has been steady since he's been there, regardless of what he's had to work on.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Benjamin St. Juice, round number 3.
I'm a fan of Juice. I do think last year he absolutely got bagged last year. I ain't gonna hold you. I don't care, tank or not. He was getting bagged last year. But I do like his ability if you give him a chance to be in the space. I do think that his percentage from college on being in the right place at the right time gives him an advantage in this particular system. I'd like to see that translate, but I don't think that was a bad pick. I just don't know if we've gotten the best out of him yet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say you're right. I don't think we got the best out of him yet. From my analysis of St. Juice, he's been inconsistent up and down. Great one season, I think, 2 years ago when the Carson Wentz season, that's what I like to call it. I think he was great. I think he was great in that season. Then last season, he just fell all the way off the hill. You know what I'm saying? Like all the way. So it's been up and down with him. So I can't really say he's good or bad. I just like, he's just been inconsistent. Good he 1 year, bad 1 year. You know what I mean? Rookie year, I don't think he had the greatest season, but I don't think it was the worst either. So I'm on the fence with him. I think he and it could be what Vito was saying. The best is yet to come with him. The best is yet to come with him. Derek Force was drafted 5th round. Benjamin St. Juice was 3rd round, and Derek Force was the 5th round.
Yeah, I like Dart.
I think all them worked out.
I think that panned out. That panned out beautifully. You got Derek Force on a 5th round pick. Man, that panned out beautifully, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think Benjamin St. Juice has had some ups and downs. He's showing some good. I think this is actually that's the person I think everybody's really sleeping on this year. He's had a lot of playing time, and when you think about the size, he kind of reminds you of a Richard Sherman. Um, I think that Benjamin St. Juice might work out pretty well.
Then you have William Bradley King.
I'm only say no because he didn't stay on the team. Smith did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
say no too. I'm
yeah,
gonna
I can
say
say
no
that.
too.
Yeah.
Then you had Shaka Tony.
No.
I would say I was no only because
You
of his
brought a
own.
bonehead in here, decided to bet on the team to make some money. And then
Yeah,
you just so stupid you didn't even give it to one of your homies. Say, hey, homie, bet on
that
this
ain't
game, bruh.
that ain't.
Like,
I don't feel like that's Ron Rivera's fault. That's the one person I'm gonna say that is not Ron Rivera's fault that he's a dumbass. Like Ron Rivera ain't tell that man to go gamble nothing.
he picked
Like,
bonehead pedigree. He picked bonehead
nah,
pedigree. I'm sorry.
bro, nah. You can't blame Ron Rivera for that dumb shit. You
I,
can't
I
blame you
yeah.
cannot blame the coach when somebody does something so catastrophically.
Ron Rivera is supposed to be a player's coach. He's supposed to
Man,
know what his players is about. So he's
did
supposed to
Michael
vet
Vick's
their
coach get
players.
blamed for him dog fighting?
Huh?
Did Michael Vick's coach get blamed for him dog fighting?
Nah, but this is concerning the game. You betting on the game that you playing.
Right.
Bruh, when I'm,
Michael Vick ain't betting on the game he playing. His brother just so happened to be fighting dogs in the backyard.
what I'm
That's his
saying
house.
is that when somebody goes, all right, so
And Michael, let's get that. Let's correct that. Michael Vick wasn't fighting no dogs. His brother and them was. He wasn't fighting no dogs.
Yes,
his
he
name,
was. He said he was. He
he
said
said
he
he
was.
was.
I watched the Shay Shay interview. He's
Yeah,
been on Shay Shay. He said it was all him. He said they told me not to do it. I did it anyway. And I can
yep.
stand on that because I watched the interview. He was like, I did. They was trying to tell me, man. They had some good ideas, some good stuff going, man. I was a knucklehead. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. That was Michael Vick's own words.
Yeah,
Mm.
Yeah, he said it was him. He said it was
yeah.
him. He said it was all him.
And what I'm saying is that when somebody does something bonehead or outside of the field, off the field, that don't got nothing to do with the team, that don't got nothing to do with, you cannot blame the coach for that.
All I'm saying is Michael Vick took how many years before all this came down on his head? Shaka Tony, dummy.
Yeah, I know,
Two
right?
Bruh,
years,
Yeah, that's
boy.
true.
2 years, bro. You're a dummy. Like you
bruh,
where's your mind there, bro? Like all I'm
that is
saying
not.
is Robert Rivera, you're supposed to be a player's coach. You're supposed to know these players. You should have known he was a dummy when you seen him.
Nah, bruh, nah, you
Nah,
can't.
yeah, bro.
I don't. I disagree. I disagree with that
Like
one.
it's just me. I got discernment. I read people. When I
I
first meet you,
disagree.
I can read you. Like, and
I
for you
don't.
to be the
I don't
players
think you
I
coach,
can
do.
you
read
ain't
that you
reading
would bet
people.
on the team, bruh.
Huh?
I don't think he can read that he would bet on the team. I don't
You
think
can
that
you.
Ron Rivera. I
I'm
don't think
not
that
saying
Ron
that,
Rivera.
bro. I'm saying you can read a dummy when you see one.
Yeah, bro, but betting on a team is when you are a second year player is a different level of dummy.
It
If he
is.
ain't got nothing that stupid, and obviously he probably ain't had nothing that stupid in his background. And if he did, I don't think we would have drafted him. So that's what I'm saying. Like he probably been getting away with it for years and just got caught. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I thought we should have kept him and gave him a chance to redeem himself. I'm one for second chances, but we ain't even give him a chance to do nothing. They cut him the same day he was reinstated.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Because he was suspended on the team. We couldn't cut him while he was suspended. So, that's how I rock.
Yeah, I would have get. I like Shaka Tony. I like his game. I don't
Yeah,
know,
his
how
game.
y'all feel about his game. I like this game. I thought that he could be good.
Definitely.
Yeah, I like this game. Who
I like this game. I just don't like the like the way the brain work. Cause
Yeah.
see, to me, you do something that stupid, you liable to do something that stupid on the field too.
I mean, I can't
So
deny that. I cannot deny that.
I agree with
so
that.
yeah, Shaka. Although I liked you when you first came out, bro. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Moving
wasn't
to
it.
the 20, that was he was the last pick. He was the 7th round pick. He was our Mr. Irrelevant in 2020 in the 2021 draft. Chase Young. Chase Young.
I think he's a good player, but it did not work
Bum,
out.
bum, bum.
I gotta
I
say,
think
hell no, that lazy motherfucker. Like
I
Nah,
no,
think
nah, 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 nah. For us
lazy.
in the Rivera time to win Rookie of the Year, I can't put him on bad pick. I just
exactly.
can't. Like out of respect, I got to give him that he was a good pick. He didn't play enough, but to be leader or second in the league in hurries last year was also impressive. He was amongst one of the leaders before he was traded. Whether I feel like he was lazy as a player or not was a good draft pick. If that's the topic that we're on.
Yeah. Yeah. Chase Young. Um, Back to the guy that y'all talked about earlier, Khalid Hudson. He was a 5th round pick in that draft. Yeah, Khalid Hudson. What
No,
y'all got?
no.
Same thing I said. He ain't paying out to me. I think that because Jamin Davis had some earlier troubles, I think that again because he was a Michigan player. Remember, he went to Michigan as well. He's on that Harbaugh team. So to me, I feel like even though you were picked in the 5th round, with given a year of NFL training, being on the NFL team, he wasn't on the practice squad. He was on the actual roster. I think that you could have picked up some stuff to get you on the field. And with that 3rd year that Rivera and Jack Del Rio had, even though we didn't make the playoffs, they rotated the defense in and out that year enough that I feel like Khalid could have made more plays to get himself on the field in a consistent manner. But again, it could have been roster mismanagement as well. But if we're just talking about his on-field performance, it was more of a splash than consistency to me.
I like Khalid Hudson. I'm gonna say, as far as his career, no. As far as his talent, yes. I think he's very talented. So I don't know if that talent produced what we wanted to produce. Wanted to, with the potential he had, but talent wise, I liked him. I liked it. Especially to get him in the 5th round. I think that was a win. But his production didn't go to him being a win. You know, Cameron Curl, 5th round,
Yep.
seventh
Good
round,
pick.
seventh round. That's a good pick.
Good, good pick.
That's a
Great
good,
pick.
yeah, that's a great pick. James Smith Williams, great pick.
Great
7th
pick.
round, 7th round.
He's still with the mob, ain't he?
I don't. Let's see. Let's see if he's still with us. Let's see.
He
Yeah,
might not be though. We kind of upgraded at
I think
that
yeah, we
limb
upgraded
position.
with that. But I mean,
he's
I'm gonna
with the
be real.
Atlanta Falcons. He's with the Atlanta Falcons.
Mhm.
I don't feel like was he a bad pick?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Like that's what I'm saying. In my opinion, we didn't went through a lot of these picks, and some of them been bad in our eyes. But let's be real, we've agreed that a lot of these picks are good picks.
Yeah,
Yeah, majority of them, yeah.
yeah.
You get what I mean?
Bum. He's a bum. We lost
Smith Williams.
and Montez Sweat, and we could not find a pass rusher to save our lives. He got 0 sacks, had one pressure in 7 games. I'm
He
sorry.
had 7 sacks. He had 7 sacks in his career.
Not last year.
He had one.
Here-
Yeah, he had one sack last year.
we needed him most. You had 1 sack. He could have changed the entire the entire movement of his career if he would have had 5 or more sacks in that time that Chase Young and Montez Sweat are
I
gone.
can agree with you on that, but I don't feel like he's a bum.
He's a bum. Chase Young is gone 17 games. You got 7 sacks. You weren't even a starter. Hill was the starter on that side, and he was not. He won the fastest 40 time in his draft at a defensive end. I'm sorry. Give him what you want. I don't.
Okay, I can respect your decision, but it still stands true to what I've been saying about Ron Rivera and draft picks on the defensive side. He picked some pretty decent pieces.
For
He
me,
picked
I like Smith Williams. I'm gonna say this. I think he's a backup. I think he's better in the backup role.
Yeah, I
I think
think he's probably a better rotational pass rusher.
yeah, I think he's a backup. I wouldn't put him as a starter, but bum, that means you like third string, fourth string in my book. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's the third, fourth string guy. I wouldn't put him that far, but I do think he's a backup. I wouldn't call him a starter because, like you said, Vito, he had an opportunity to start and really didn't. But again, was Rivera trying to win? That's the question. I
And then
think we see
Rivera was
more
the
about
head,
who he is this year.
and then Rivera was the defensive coordinator as well. Because
Right.
I'm gonna be real, Jack didn't do what we wanted him to do in the first half of games, but throughout the time Jack was here, the second half of games he was pretty decent at.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and Ron Rivera wasn't good at any part of the game.
Right.
Now, at the beginning, not the end. You know what I mean? So like, nah.
Yeah. I
But
totally
can we?
agree. You
Yeah,
know, was you saying something point?
I was about to say, can we get to the everybody
Yeah, the
talk about?
last one. No, we're gonna do what we're gonna do this week is we're gonna do this special team coaching. We're gonna resume on our Wednesday workhorse show. We're gonna resume with the other coaches. We're gonna do the last coach, which is the Larry Izzo, the special teams coach. So it's about, we want to get to our offensive coordinator. We want to get him special time, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinators, special teams coach, so we're gonna get to the last coach of the night. And we're gonna resume with more of the position coaches, which is the quarterback coaches and all the different coaches. We're gonna resume that on Wednesday show for everybody out there listening. We're gonna resume the other coaches on Wednesday workhorse show, which we'll get to the other ones. Of course, we still got a lot of things to peel back, but we're gonna make sure we give everybody their proper opportunity, their proper chance, and their proper attention. Larry Izzo. I'm gonna run through who Izzo has been and where Izzo has come from. I don't know if y'all remember Izzo. Izzo was a longtime player for the Patriots. He had 4 rings with the Patriots, as their special teams player on the Patriots. So that's one thing about Izzo. Izzo is ringed up
I
already.
did not know that. That's
Yes.
something I did not know.
Yeah, Izzo is ringed up. He played with Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? He got a bunch of rings out there with the Patriots. So he is
And
ringed.
that was the team. AAV. That was the team you talk about. The kicker was saving Brady.
Yeah.
Hey, the special teams. Hey.
Yeah. So Izzo, last year was the special teams coordinator for the Seahawks. He's been a special teams coordinator for the Seahawks from 2021 to 2023 under Pete Carroll. Izzo is in his 14th season coaching, and 4th as a special teams coordinator. Before his stint, he was at a 6-year stint. Before his 6-year stint with Seattle, Izzo spent 7 years with the New York Giants from 2011 to 2015. So he got another ring with the Giants. And then he was with Houston from 2016 to 2017. Following a 14-year playing career as well. So Izzo has done his thing. You know what I mean? The
He
Seahawks.
transitioned right to coaching from playing.
Yeah, yeah. So the Seahawks was one of the best special teams in the NFL in 2021, with Jason Myers leading the NFL in scoring under Izzo. He went to the Pro Bowl in that year as well under Izzo. Myers was Myers was very, very consistent and made a career high field goals with 35. Punter Michael Dickinson was second in the league net average at 44.4 in 2022, while having career highs under Izzo for punts within the 50 punts inside, punts with 50-yard punts that season. So he had his best season under Izzo as well. In 2022, Jason Myers also connected on 24 field goals, finishing 2020 mating 2020 with 35 consecutive made field goals dating back to 2019, a franchise record. Again, punter Michael Dickinson under Izzo in 2020 led the ranked second in the NFL with 49.6 yard punting average, and ranked top 5 in net average as well under Izzo. So, man, impressive. What y'all got on Larry Izzo?
Um,
Hey,
hey, I'm impressed, man. I hear the resume and I like it a lot. I would like to see our special teams make some plays, some kick returns, some punt returns. I mean, we need one or two of those, this year. Because my opinion is that the special teams has been bland for years. I mean, who was the last good returner we had? What, Brandon Banks?
Brandon Banks.
You know what I mean? Like,
Prowler.
how many years has that been? You know what I mean? And even before that, who was it before that? It wasn't, we haven't had special
It was
teams.
D. Mitchell. No, D. Hall.
We used to have Brian Mitchell, man. Brian Mitchell. We used to have Larry Alexander. If I'm saying his name, Lorenzo Alexander, excuse me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, now we do have what's my man name play special teams for us, the D back. Oh man, I can't remember his name right now. The one,
Reeves.
huh?
Jerry.
Yeah,
Reeves.
yeah, Reeves. You know what I mean? We got a
Uh-huh.
solid guy, and we got a solid punter. In Tress Way. I like to see what our kicker do. You know what I'm saying? But I think that the special teams, we got to do something as far as get a returner and have our returner, whoever's going to be this year, turn up.
Okay. What you got, big son?
I actually like Izzo. Hearing his resume, also hearing that he won championships in the game, playing the game, and he won them, outside of playing the game, coaching the game. So to me, that's a good pedigree right there. You know what I'm saying? A guy who not only won them, but he had four of them. You know what I'm saying? He had four rings while he's playing, and what, a couple after? Like, that's
Yeah.
big to me. So a guy like that can teach what I want to say, a Cashmere Island, if they plan to, bring Cashmere back to return kicks, or, anybody that they had back there returning can, pretty much up their level and game on how to return kicks via, punt return or kick return. So that resume right there is a good clean resume to me. The major factor in Larry to me is he produces, and that's what we need around here. We like I was speaking earlier. Hearing what I just heard about Larry just kind of confirms what I said about the staff and the ownership and guys earlier. Really paying attention to detail with a fine tooth comb, because you know, had you not said that, I mean, I probably would have went and done some done my research on Izzo like I was going to do all of them, but I wouldn't have known that. I didn't know that until now. So to hear something like that, that guy right there, what almost 5 rings altogether. Then you got the head coach that used to coach for the Chargers being our running backs coach, an assistant, coach as well. So like bringing pedigree around this building like that, and that's building a winner like the winner that Chase Young was talking about that he ran into once he was no longer a commander. He said he wasn't. People might have took this wrong. He wasn't throwing shade on the nation. He was just saying it felt good to be around winners, people that want to win.
Right.
That and he said I could feel it in the room. It was different. The atmosphere was different. So I like the fact that they changing up the atmosphere here, and that's another uh good way to go for the staff here picking Larry Izzo. I like him.
Okay, okay. What you got, Vito, on Izzo? Still got Vito with us?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
I'm impressed with Izzo. Got a long resume. Has been consistent as a special teams coach. Again, I did not know that he led the league in scoring with Myers in 2021. Very impressive. Also, may make sense why they picked up McManus. Just may be somebody that he likes. And
Mhm.
even though I think Sly was pretty good, the low projection of his kicks also was something that was a concern. I'd be honest about that, even though he was consistent from long range. The low projection of the kicks is also something that led to blocks, and you don't want that.
Mhm.
So, with his resume, I can't really say I'm not, happy with the selection. I'd love to see some returns. That's something that we haven't had, like I said, on a consistent basis in a long time.
I agree. I agree. So for me, I like Izzo. I think that again, for me, this is how I view special teams, and everybody's different. I'm not. I Some people want the return game to be this exciting thing, and I get it. I do want the return game to be exciting, but I just don't want no special teams turnovers. If you don't have the greatest return game, but you don't have any special teams turnovers, and your kicker makes kicks, especially in big moments and close games, and your punter does a good job of pinning the team on the other side of the field, deep in their side of the field. You have a lot of kicks, punts inside the 20. I can live with that. I can live with that. And for Izzo, he's had a kicker who made 30, not 35 consecutive kicks. And again, he had a punter who ranked top 5 in different categories of punt net average and things of that nature, meaning he didn't have a lot of turnovers or kicks. Sorry, he didn't have a lot of touchbacks. When you lead in net average like that, when you have a high net average, it means like if you're on the 50, you're not kicking it out of the end zone. You're actually kicking the ball inside the 20. So I think that's very important. And it seems like he's really eye on detail to those things for him to be as consistent as he is. I think that is a super advantage when you do have a punter who does a good job, at doing it. I think that greatly helps your defense. Where you giving away 20 yards here, give away another 20 yards there, give away another 20 yards there. That starts to add up by the end of the game. So I think that when you're making the kicks that you should make, at least consistently, and you're kicking the ball inside of the of the opponent's territory and having them travel the field every single time, or whenever you get the opportunity. I think that's big. I think that's big. I think that sways games, especially in playoff time where the games are really close. Those are the differences a lot of times. So I think Larry Izzo is an advantage. I think he can be a weapon. And so far, this is actually my favorite pick out of all of them. This is today. I'm my favorite coach. My favorite pick of coach today is Izzo for me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's different, but he, out of what I would expect from a coach, it seems that he brings that to the table. What I would expect as far as detail wise for a
Hmm.
special teams coach, it really does seem like he bring that to the table. Based on his resume, I like to at least consider the resume as a extension of what to expect out of this person. Um, so I mean, I'm confident to say that he should be able to do the same. We have a decent kicker, you know what I'm saying? McManus is not bad. Then we have a great punter in Tress Way. So I think Larry Izzo should be able to really take advantage of Tress Way and some of the things he's able to do on his own, with and some of the things he was able to do with other special teams coordinators. So I'm high on the pick. I'm high on the pick, man. I'm definitely high on the pick. So
We haven't
again,
been able to be honest, we haven't really had a good special teams around here since Danny left and
since
went back
Danny,
to
yep,
Pittsburgh.
I agree. Danny Smith.
You know what I'm
Yep,
saying? Since Danny left us, our special teams haven't really been nothing to talk about. The only person who's kept it together and kept it solid is Trustway. But that shouldn't be. He shouldn't be the best player on the team. We don't want that.
I
You know.
agree.
So, but yeah, I like Izzo, man.
Yeah,
Hopefully, it get back to the way it used to look when Danny was here.
yeah, yeah. I think he could be Danny number two or
Hey,
Izzo number one. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I'm
Whatever
about to
which
say
one you want to call it.
the rings and stuff he got. You know, he gonna write his own story up ahead.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
man.
we went through again the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, the head coach, and the special teams coach. We wanted to make sure that we went through all of those guys for you guys, just to let you know who the main players is on all three phases of the ball. On Wednesday, Workhorse Wednesday, we go over some of the more intricate parts: quarterback coach, running back coach, linebacker coaches, all offensive line, defensive line. And stuff like that. So we'll get to the more intricate portions of this coaching staff. We do have a female. We have a female coach as well this year for Washington. We had one the last 2 seasons. We have one again this year. So we want to go over all these people so that you know who to blame when things is going left. So that you know who to blame when things are going left, whether it's the wide receivers dropping passes, the offensive line can't block, defensive line can't get no pressure, linebackers can't tackle, secondary can't, whoever it is, we gonna know who to blame here at the Nature Sports Network because we does this game by game. And I just wanted to remind everybody out there, we do game for game. We
Yes,
do
sir.
broadcast the games. Every game will be broadcasted right here on the Nature Sports Network. And we do them Redskin games, man, and like no other. I encourage all the fans out there to hit their Instagram at the Nature DC. Go ahead, make sure y'all hit that Instagram and watch some of the old games from last year. They are on there, so you're able to watch it. You able to lock in. Let's get the final thoughts from the guys. What y'all got?
Uh, Let me say that the staff so far throughout the first three coaches, lead coaches, I'm gonna call them, the head coach Dan Quinn, the offensive coordinator Joe Witt, the offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury, and the defensive coordinator Joe Witt, and the special teams coordinator Larry Izzo. I think that all four of those are really good hires. I think that with Kingsbury, we have an opportunity to get a new offense and get some young blood in there that can do some different things, especially with designing an offense around Jaden Daniels. I think that Joe Witt going to fix the secondary. At least that's what they've done in the past. And we already got a bunch of dogs. I mean, complete dogs up front. And when you add Bobby Wagner, excuse me, next to Jamin Davis, I think that defensively we in a good place. And when you got Larry Izzo, somebody that's just been around special teams for 30 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like when you count no, probably a little bit longer than that, but when you count the pros and then you count him going right into coaching, and for real, you can go back to college, for him, or so I'm like, so there's somebody that's been around special teams forever. And I really think that that's going to help us, even with us having some good pieces on the special teams already, like Tress Way, who I think is going to, who they. I just saying this. Let me say this now on my final thought. I just saying that Jaden Daniels and Tress Way are doing like a promo together.
Okay,
So look for Tress Way to give Jaden Daniels
that's a good look.
the number 5. So why, especially while we on Larry Izzo, let me go ahead and say that now. You heard it first here if you ain't heard it before. Um, but other than that, we'll be glad to see you guys, and also check out our other program, Score to Fight. We'll drop some promo on that whenever that's coming out. So good night, people. For me,
Yes,
it's
indeed.
Point D.
What you got, big son?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. I'm just looking forward to the season, man. I can't wait to see the preseason go on. The battles of the QBs, battles. I mean, the battles of the ones, twos, and threes. Especially between the twos and threes, because I think honestly the twos and threes is going to be real, real shifty this year. You got a lot out there. You got who you got? You got Jamin, then you got Lulu, then you got Wag. So like that's three guys right there. I want to see, you know, have good competition, and not only competition, good camaraderie, and what I'm saying, getting to know each other, getting to know each other, cadences and calls out there. I'm really a defensive man. I like offensive, but I love defense. Like that's where I'm at with it. To see this team get back to the competitive stance of defense, i.e. Daryl Green, Champ Bailey, them days back then, Smoot, all them guys. I want to see the defense rise back to that level. Not too long ago, a London Fletcher led defense. I want to see that. Um, what else can I say about my final thought? Oh yeah, shout out to Victor Wambe. I just call him Wambe. Victor, y'all know what I'm talking about. Shout out to
Wimby,
Victor.
Wimby,
Huh?
Wimby.
Yeah, Wimby. Shout out to Victor winning rookie of the year. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Shout out
Wimbyana,
to that guy. Yeah,
Wimbyana.
yeah, he won rookie of the year. Shout out to him for winning rookie of the year.
Well
That's not
deserved.
a huh?
Well deserved.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
averaged
well
6 blocks
deserved.
a game this year. 6 blocks a game this year.
Oh wow. Wow. Yeah, that's monstrous. So I wanted to say it earlier, but it kind of slipped my mind. We got to talk about Dan Quinn and everything. I wanted to come out and say that, congratulations to that young man winning rookie of the year. Also, also, if y'all DC natives don't know, it was passed for them to do some things to RFK and renew it. So we may be looking at the team finally coming back to its roots. Now, if that team finally come back to its roots, y'all talking about City going crazy. 2012 playoffs with RG3 winning, you know, winning winning rookie of the year and all that. Ain't gonna be nothing compared to it. That team come
I
back to the
agree with that.
district.
I
I'm
agree with
telling
that.
y'all now, that team come back to the district, y'all gonna see another side of the city y'all never saw before. You gonna see a side of the city you didn't even think existed.
I
You
agree
know what I'm
with that.
saying? So y'all just look out for that, man. And if a petition come up, y'all see a petition, DMV, sign that.
Yeah,
The team rightfully deserves to be in DC like every other team.
I
Audi
agree.
Field got a soccer team. You know what I'm saying? The Nationals, they got their baseball stadium that they hosted a All-Star game, All-Star weekend at.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? We deserve that type of stuff here. Our city deserves that. We deserve to have all our teams playing in the city. We the city ain't that big, but y'all found room, and y'all don't have to find room for RK. It's already there. You know what I'm saying? So make it right. Do what's right, Muriel.
No, I
Year
agree with you, Big
2000,
Son.
do what's right. Bring
Yeah,
that
it's
team back to
time.
the city because you said if they change the name and they did that,
Yeah,
conversations will start about bringing that team back. Don't do what your old counterpart, not your old counterpart, but the old person that was in your position did. Don't do what Mayor Pratt did. Don't
Sharon
do what
Pratt
she did.
Kelly.
Don't
Sharon
do what she
Pratt
did.
Kelly.
Don't use your power to advantage.
Sharon
To your
Watt
advantage.
Kelly.
No. Yeah, Sharon Pratt Kelly.
No,
Don't
Sharon
do what
Watt
she did.
Kelly. We're gonna call
Yeah.
her
Uh-huh.
Watt
That
Kelly.
too. But don't do what she did. You know what I'm saying? If you said you gonna make it right, make it right. We got the money to make it right here. And y'all can make it happen. So don't act like y'all can't. And y'all gonna get blessed off the revenue anyway. You know what I'm
I,
saying?
I
So
agree with Big Son.
make it happen. Make it happen. That's my final thought.
I agree with Big Son on that one. You know what I'm saying? I agree with that Big Son on that. My final thought is um overall, especially with the all with through all three sides of the ball, I think that y'all heard it first. These guys heard it here first. These guys are qualified to go. Yes, there are some concerns. There are some things that we're not sure about. You get to see a side of these guys, especially with Witt and Kingsbury. They both are first time coordinators.
Hmm.
So, they haven't done this before. So, even though they've both earned the job, let's be clear about that. They've both earned their ways, but they still are first time coordinators. We have to remember
Hmm.
that. And it's also have a rookie quarterback as well. Um, so with them being first time coordinators, them having a rookie quarterback, I think that you really have to sit up on your seats as to what they could possibly do. They don't have any film on them, which could work to their advantage. I think early in the season they need to be aggressive because
Hmm.
nobody has any film on you. Nobody knows what you want to do. Everybody has film on Dan Quinn. Don't do what they would expect Dan Quinn to do or Dan Quinn team to do. Do something else. Keep
Hmm.
them off balance all year long. When they think they caught up to what you like to do something else. When they think
Exactly.
they caught up to that, do something else. And there's no limit. Let me say this to the fan base, and let me say this to the coaching staff. Just because you have a rookie quarterback don't mean you can't win a Super Bowl.
Exactly.
I,
I
I
agree.
don't know who told y'all or where that's written in the rule book, but it's not. And that goes for Jaden Daniels too. Don't limit yourself.
Yep. We can
Don't
you can
limit
bring
yourself.
history. You can make history. Yeah.
Yeah, you can make it. Don't
I
walk
agree.
in here saying, "Oh, I'm this, so I don't have to do." Oh, yeah, yes, the heck you do. Yeah, you do. We ain't trying to hear that. We don't want no excuse. You have no excuses here.
Hmm.
There would be no excuses. We ain't trying to hear it. We don't care. So make sure that y'all put yourselves in the best position to do everything that it is that we feel, not we feel, meaning us as just the nature show, but we as in the Washington fan base, that we can look and see and say, you tried.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
tried. This gonna be a long season. Ups, downs, backward slides, backstabbings, all whatever you could think of happens in a season.
Hmm.
So y'all got to get ready and give yourself every single advantage you could possibly get as a coaching staff. Don't limit yourself and don't play sweet and don't think nothing's going to be handed to you. And stay healthy. Do not risk your health for no reason, especially new draftees. Leave them girls alone.
There
Leave the
you go.
partying alone. Leave
Mm.
the extra alone.
Mm.
Focus on your craft. Get your body together. Get your mind together. Get your soul together, so that you intact when August roll around and you got to go through that mini camp.
Mm.
You ready? You ready to go? Trained and born to go. You know. So that's just
I
my
agree.
final thought, man. Y'all know what it is, baby. It's ETA Money Roll here live on the Nature Sports Podcast. We have the Workhorse Wednesday coming up, where we're going to
Yes,
complete the coaching
sir.
staff, and that's at 9:30. The Monday show is at 10. So y'all make sure y'all tune in to both. Again, we got the Facebook up here on the Nature Group. You can go ahead and check that out when you get an opportunity. Here is the Twitter. Make sure you jump on the Twitter when you get an opportunity. Make sure you following us. Make sure you subscribed in. I don't know if y'all saw, just a little sidebar. Last night or 2 nights ago, what's my man name for the Milwaukee Bucks? You Too Small. What's his name? What's his name? Who am I thinking of?
Giannis. Giannis.
No, not Giannis. You Too Small. The one that used to that do the Too Small
Oh,
joint.
Middleton. Not Middleton.
No,
That's
no,
not him. That's Memphis.
no. He played for the Bucks now.
Lord. What is his name? I got his picture right
Yeah, I
here.
got. Hey, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
Bang.
Will.
Bang. Bang.
Who?
Bang.
No, not Bane.
Bang.
No, with the dreads.
Patrick Beverly.
Beverly. There we go. Patrick Beverly. Patrick Beverly. Patrick Beverly. Shout out to Pat Bev, man. Hey, Pat Bev, I'm going to subscribe too. When I get off air, I'm going to make sure I subscribe. So Pat Bev was doing the interview after the game, the playoff game, and it was a lady who was interviewing him. And he said, and the lady came up and put the mic in his face, and Pat Bev, and she said, asked him some question. And Pat Bev said, ho, is you subscribed to my podcast? She said, oh, no, I'm not subscribed. He said, I can't give you no interview then.
Mm,
You get no interview.
that's
And then
real.
she said, oh, well, such and such is here. He can talk to you, this, that, and the other. And she proceeded to put the mic in his face. He said, move the mic out my face. You get no interview if you ain't subscribed. Well, guess what, Redskin Nature? Y'all need to subscribe.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the boys, baby. We giving you that good, that good info. So you can go ahead and out argue your counterparts at work, out argue
Hmm.
your worst enemies, out argue the Cowboy fans. Make sure y'all subscribe, man. Make sure y'all locked in, man. On the Twitter, there's all on your screen right now. The Twitter, they go to Instagram right there. They go to Twitter right there. They go to Facebook right there, man. Make sure y'all lock in, man, and subscribe with us because we do this all year long. And I'm going to tell y'all now, nobody's broadcast is better than ours
Nobody.
during games. Trust.
Y'all
Trust.
need to come lock in. I'm
Nobody.
telling y'all, man. Telling
Go,
y'all,
and if
lock
y'all think
in.
you're playing, go and look at the broadcast. Go and look at the broadcast. Ain't nobody rocking with us when it come to that. 10
And
years strong.
that's right. That's
10
right.
years
And we
strong.
might give you double headers.
Give you
You might
double
catch a
headers. And
Thursday
another
night, a
thing,
Monday night, a double header on
absolutely.
Sunday. You don't know
Absolutely.
with us, man. Gotta
Yeah.
stay tuned.
And we give it to you from the Redskins perspective. Oh, Dallas playing. Oh, just such and such playing. Let's see what they do. And we talk to you like Redskin fans. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all don't get that. You're not going to get that if you're looking at the games with whoever else you're looking at it with. We
Yeah.
giving it to you from our view, our eyes, Redskin fan eyes, man. Y'all know what it is, man. That's my final thought, man. I want to make sure we lock that in again. Before we get off air, I want to make sure we show all of the social platforms, man. They go to Twitter right there. Make sure you get on
Oh yeah,
locked
oh
on
yeah, oh
in
yeah.
right there. They go to Instagram right there. Make sure you lock it on in with the
At the
Instagram.
Nature
Boom.
DC.
They go to and here go to Facebook, man, at the Nature Show group,
Mm-hmm.
man. The Nature Show group, man. We got a group on Facebook that gives our broadcast go straight to the group, man. Every time we on air. So y'all make sure y'all lock in with that, man. I'ma
Yeah,
sign
y'all don't
out.
forget. Y'all also don't forget about Score to Fight.
Score the fight.
We
Oh
got a
yeah,
couple
yeah. Y'all
fights
can't
coming
forget
up.
about score the
Don't
fight.
forget about Score to Fight.
Make
That's
sure y'all
Leo.
tune in. I believe that
Yes, sir.
right now our next broadcast is the tank fight, but we're gonna probably hit something before that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
We're
we
gonna make
will. We
sure we
will.
lock that in by Workhorse Wednesday. By Workhorse Wednesday, we're gonna have the next fight or whoever we're gonna have, whatever that's gonna go down with score the fight. We'll make sure we have that ready for y'all by Workhorse Wednesday.
Yes, yes, yes. And also, your boy Big Son is coming out with a show too. Y'all gonna look out for that. It's called Big Son No Shade. We're gonna talk about everything from burnt permins to to the pit bull and poodle fight next door in your hood in your community. We're gonna talk about everything, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna dive in on Big Sun No Shade. It will be informative and it will be hilarious. You know, so get ready
Absolutely,
for that one.
absolutely, absolutely. Big Sean No Shade coming soon. So man, y'all just tune into the network, man. Y'all know what we do. We're gonna give it to
Hey,
y'all the way we give it to y'all.
as far as score the fight, um, we are looking at May 18th for the Tyson Fury Oleksandr
Oh
Usyk fight.
yeah.
Okay,
Um,
Hmm.
there
I,
y'all go. Y'all got the exclusive. Whoever rocking
now,
with us tonight, you
hey,
get the
no, this the
exclusive.
thing. This the thing. I'm also debating if that's going to be the next fight or if May 11th, which is next week, we might get the Vasily Lomachenko versus George Kambosos fight. So
Lomo, Lomo.
Loma's a big guy. So me and the team going to sit down and talk if it's going to be Loma next or it's going to be Tyson Fury and Usyk next.
Y'all know what it is, man. That's exciting times, baby. Exciting times around the Nature Sports Network, man. Exciting times, man. Bringing it to y'all raw live and and direct, man. Y'all know what it is. You know what I'm talking about. That score the fight. Um, we're gonna have something locked in, or however, whichever way we want to turn it. We're gonna have that for y'all by Workhorse Wednesday. We'll be able to give y'all some solid information on that. Y'all make sure that y'all go ahead and hit that Instagram though. We got old shows. Hit that Facebook. Hit that YouTube. Make sure you hit that YouTube at Studio Runners, the Studio Runners channel. I'm gonna make sure that we get that posting up so you can have a YouTube channel too. We are on YouTube as well. Do not neglect the YouTube.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
yeah, do not neglect the YouTube either. So that's it, man. We're gonna sign out. Y'all drive safely, get home safely. If you're at work, work safely. If you're on your way home, get there safely, man. Whatever you're doing, do it safely, man. See y'all next time.
I know.
Signing out.
Yeah.